You cross over into the world of Soul Land and become a branch disciple of the Skyreach sect, but you fail to awaken your soul power. The sect's inherited soul skill is the Skyhammer, yet all you awaken is an unremarkable black stone statue. With 0 innate soul power, the entire sect brands you as worthless. From that day on, you sink to the bottom as a servant, enduring 7 long years of humiliation. But the worthless stone statue everyone mocks is actually the sealed vessel of the 12 primordial totems from the ancient world. A single totem alone could crush countless powerhouses across Soul Land. But the statue can only be unsealed once every mortal bond of cause and effect is severed. And in the instant those 7 years of karma finally shatter the seal, level 20 innate divine power roars back to life. The statue breaks open. The 12 primordial totems descend upon the world. On the Skyreach sect's training grounds, you hold a broom just like every other day. You sweep up stone chips and sawdust. Not far away, a group of inner disciples are training with a skyhammer, heavy black warhammers. The hammers swing through their hands, kicking up gusts of wind. Suddenly, one slams down right beside your feet. Mud sprays up and soaks the hem of your clothes. You freeze. You slowly look up. A boy of about 16 or 17 stands before you, arms crossed. He watches you with a mocking grin. His name is Leo Draven, a disciple under Elder Roderick. He started with 6 levels of innate soul power. Now he's a Grand Soul Master, level 27. Oh, Silas. My bad, my hand slipped. Didn't scare you, did it? The disciples around him burst into laughter. You ignore him, simply stepping around the hammer and continuing to sweep. But the calmer you stay, the darker Leo's expression grows. Because nothing irritates him more than this. You're worthless, anyone can walk all over you, and yet you never fight back, never even get angry. It's as if the mockery and humiliation never truly touch you. He raises a hand, and the skyhammer flies back into his grip. Silas, I'm talking to you. Didn't you hear me? I heard you. You heard me and you still don't answer. What do you want me to say? The grin fades from Leo's face at once. Someone nearby stirs the pot. Leo, this trash has quite the attitude. An outer servant talking back to an inner disciple like that. Guess nobody's taught him his place in all these years. Leo's eyes turn cold. He slowly unleashes his soul power. The pressure of a level 27 Grand Soul Master bears straight down on you. Your shoulders drop instantly, as if a slab of stone has landed on your body. But you don't kneel. You don't even step back. Because these 7 years as a servant never gave you soul power, but they gave you endurance far beyond an ordinary person's. Seeing you still standing, the fury in Leo's eyes deepens. Trash should act like trash. You think you're still the disciple the sect master brought home? You're nothing but an outer servant now. Outer servants bow their heads to inner disciples. He raises a hand toward your shoulder, trying to force you to bend. But just as his hand is about to land, a steady voice cuts across the training grounds. Enough! Leo yanks his hand back at once. The disciples around him spin and bow in unison. Sect Master! Sect Master Aldrich Draven stands at the edge of the training grounds. No one noticed him arrive. He wears a black robe. Before the rain can even touch him, an invisible force scatters it away. Sect Master, I was only training. Training isn't an excuse to bully your own sect brothers. Understood. I was wrong. Aldrich then turns his gaze to you. A flicker of complicated emotion crosses his eyes. 7 years have passed and you've grown from that frail child into a tall, lean young man. Your clothes are still plain and an outer servant tag still hangs at your waist. But your eyes carry a calm that doesn't match your age. Sect Master. Have you been managing all right these years? I've managed. If you ever need anything, come find me. Leo and the others go visibly pale. Clearly none of them expected the Sect Master to still remember you. Thank you, Sect Master, but I won't need to. The complexity in Aldrich's eyes deepens, because he can tell, this isn't spite and it isn't bravado. You genuinely no longer expect his help. And somehow that stirs in him, a guilt he can't quite name. In the end, he only sighs quietly and turns to leave. Do your work well. As Aldrich walks away, the mood on the training grounds shifts, tense and strange. Leo doesn't dare strike openly again, but the look he gives you still burns with resentment. Count yourself lucky. You don't respond. You simply go on sweeping, because you already understand something. Aldrich may carry a trace of guilt toward you, but guilt like that changes nothing. At dusk, you drag your exhausted body back to the wooden hut in the outer courtyard. The moment you push the door open, you notice a figure already inside. A middle-aged steward in a gray robe sits beside your worn wooden table. A small cloth pouch rests on the table. Silas, Elder Roderick wants you at the Elders' Hall tomorrow. Elder Roderick wants me? The steward nods. Pity flickers in his eyes, mixed with a touch of quiet satisfaction. That's right. The sect is clearing out useless outer disciples lately. You've been here 7 years now and still not a shred of soul power. So the elders feel it's time you understood your situation. You look at the small pouch on the table. Inside are likely spirit coins, not much, but enough to let an ordinary person get by for a while. This is clearly the sect's parting gift, meant to send you on your way. After a moment, you suddenly smile. The steward blinks, caught off guard. He'd expected panic, resentment, maybe even you dropping to your knees to beg for help. But you do none of that. You simply walk to the bed and open your old, faded wooden chest. There's nothing valuable inside. A few changes of clothes, some notebooks of Soul Beast records you copied by hand, an ordinary short blade, and a heavily worn wooden tag marking you as a servant. You pack each item away one by one. The steward watches you, his expression slowly shifting. I already knew. The Skyreach sect doesn't keep the useless around. I heard that line 7 years ago. The steward is momentarily at a loss for words. You finish packing, then glance again at the pouch on the table. This is your travel money. The sect master ordered it. Your father did die fighting for this sect after all. The sect won't send you off empty-handed. Then thank the sect master for me. But I don't need it. Once I leave, I'll just be an ordinary man with no soul power at all. Without money, how would I even survive? But you continue. I've eaten the sect's food for 7 years and served as a laborer for 7 years too. That debt is about paid off. If I take this money, I'll owe them all over again. The steward stares at you, stunned. In that moment, it strikes him. The young man in front of him might not be the worthless outcast everyone calls him. You walk alone toward the far edge of the outer courtyard. Without you even noticing, the cracked stone statue surfaces in your palm. The statue, silent for 7 long years, trembles faintly in the rain. You glance down, deep within one of the cracks on its surface. A red light flashes and vanishes. Then an ancient voice rings out deep within your soul. The karma will soon break. Voidwing shall wake. The next morning, you shoulder an old pack and walk alone to the Elders' Hall, where several sect elders are already seated on either side. Aldrich sits at the head seat, still wearing his black robe, his expression stern, his presence steady. But the moment his gaze falls on the old pack on your back, something conflicted flickers across his eyes. Elder Roderick sits at Aldrich's left, his gaze full of impatience and scrutiny. You walk to the center of the hall, stop, and bow toward the seats above. Sectmaster, elders. Silas, you should already know why we've summoned you today. I know. Then do you have anything to say? The elders all turn to look at you. Clearly they're waiting to see if you'll beg. After all, once you step outside these gates, the outside world is far crueler than the sect. Soul beasts, bandits, rogue soul masters, noble soul masters, none of them are threats an ordinary boy with no soul power can easily face. If the sect wants me gone, then I'll go. The hall falls silent for a beat. Aldrich watches you, brow furrowing slightly. Roderick lets out a cold snort. At least you know your place. Silas, you've stayed in the Skyreach sect for 7 years. The sect fed you, clothed you, spared your life, and still you have no soul power at all. Keeping you here any longer would only waste resources. That's why we're releasing you today. This isn't the sect being heartless. It's simply that you need to understand your place. You're right, Elder. The Skyreach sect doesn't keep the useless around. I heard that line 7 years ago, and I still remember it 7 years later. Good. That's all you need to remember. Enough. Aldrich turns to a steward nearby. The steward steps forward at once, carrying a wooden box to you. Inside, dozens of gold soul coins sit neatly arranged, along with a travel permit token. This money is your travel funds from the sect. This token will grant you shelter in towns across the Stormcrown Empire. Your father died fighting for this sect. Though you can't remain in the Skyreach sect, we won't let you leave with nothing to your name. You look at the coins in the box, but don't reach for them. Aldrich seems to have already anticipated this. Silas, don't let pride get the better of you. The outside world is nothing like the sect. This money isn't charity, it's simply the sect's compensation for your father. I'll remember the sect master's kindness, but I can't accept this money. My father died for this sect, and the sect took me in afterward. That's a debt of kindness. And for these 7 years, I've worked as a servant, sweeping the training grounds, hauling iron ore, tending the medicine fields, cleaning the storerooms, small tasks, all of it, but enough to repay what I ate. Today, as I leave the Skyreach sect, we're even. If I take this money now, I'll owe the sect all over again. The whole hall falls silent once more. The elders' expressions turn subtly complicated. None of them expected that this outer courtyard servant, whom they'd branded worthless, would settle his debts so precisely. Roderick lets out a cold laugh. Quite the mouth on you. An ordinary man with no soul power at all will struggle just to survive out there, and you're refusing the sect's parting gift. Don't come crying later. Don't worry, Elder. Once I walk out of here today, whether I live or die will have nothing to do with the Skyreach sect. I won't come back to beg, and I won't come back for scraps. Insolence! A crushing wave of soul power erupts violently from Roderick. In an instant, the air in the entire hall turns heavy. The terrifying pressure bears down on you like a mountain. Your shoulders drop sharply, and the stone tiles beneath your feet crack faintly. Your chest feels crushed under a boulder. A coppery taste rises in your throat, but you hold your ground. Your spine stays rigid, until a trickle of blood seeps from the corner of your mouth. Still, you don't bend. Aldrich's face changes. Elder. Roderick snorts and withdraws his pressure. Without power, don't speak so boldly. Noted. Aldrich's frown deepens further, because he's suddenly realized that over these 7 years, the young man before them has quietly become someone else entirely. somewhere they couldn't see. No soul power, yet unbending pride. No martial soul talent, yet a will of steel. A pity that, in a place like the Skyreach sect, character and pride can never replace real power. Silas, since your mind is made up, I won't force the matter, but remember this, in the end, Skyreach sect blood still runs in your veins. Sectmaster, from the day I failed to awaken the Skyhammer, no one in this sect ever believed the blood in my veins belonged to the Skyreach sect. I have no wish to dwell on it. Because that's simply how this world works, the strong are respected, and the weak are cast aside. I accept that. So today I ask the Sectmaster and all the elders to accept one thing in return. You step back half a pace and slowly unfasten from your waist the last Skyreach sect identity token you own, an old tag left behind by your father. You've carried it with you all these years. Even after being demoted to an outer courtyard servant, you never once removed it, but now you set it down on the stone table at the center of the hall. From this day forward, I, Silas, am no longer a Skyreach sect disciple. The debt of the sect taking me in, I've repaid it in full, and the weight of my father's death for this sect, that ends here too. From now on, the Skyreach sect is the Skyreach sect. Silas is Silas. We owe each other nothing more. In the next instant, a thunderclap booms outside the elders' hall. The candle flames inside flicker in unison. A strange shiver runs through everyone present. Deep in your palm, the cracked statue shudders violently at that exact moment. A nearly imperceptible dark red light flickers from your sleeve and vanishes. But everyone's attention in the hall is still fixed on what you just said, so no one notices the strange flicker. Owe each other nothing more, well said. Silas, remember your own words today. Even if you die out there someday, never claim the Skyreach sect as your origin again. You don't argue further, you simply give Aldrich one final bow. Sectmaster, take care. Aldrich's lips part as if he wants to say something. In the end, he only sighs. Go. You turn and walk out of the elders' hall. Many Skyreach sect disciples have already heard the news, gathering along the path to watch the spectacle. Leo stands among them. Well, the trash actually got kicked out. He's not even a Skyreach servant anymore. Guess that makes him lower than trash now. Be careful out there, Silas. No one out there is going to collect your body. Jeers rise from every direction. But you walk on as if you've heard nothing at all, calm and steady. Moments later, you step past the sect's outer gate. And in that exact instant, the invisible thread inside you feels as though it's finally completely severed. Deep within your soul, a thunderous roar suddenly erupts. The cracked statue surges out of your palm on its own, hovering before you. Cracks race wildly across its surface. Streaks of dark red light pour out through the fissures. Your pupils contract sharply, yet the gate guards behind you notice nothing at all, because in the next instant the space around you begins to warp like rippling water, sealing off every trace of sound and presence. Then, that ancient, magnificent voice, as if echoing from the farthest edge of the primordial world, erupts inside your mind. The karma is severed. The statue opens. Of the 12 primordial totems, the first shall now awaken. A shard of black stone quietly breaks away from the statue's surface. Dozens of yards behind you, space itself shudders violently. Distant peaks freeze in place. Clouds hang motionless. Even the falling leaves in the distance seem to drift half a beat too slow. And in this moment you finally see it. Deep within the cracked statue, an ancient godlike shadow slowly opens its eyes. Its form resembles a great yellow sack, red as blazing fire, with 6 legs and 4 wings, faceless, formless, and space itself ripples around it like the tide. Totem Voidwing. In that instant, a blazing, overwhelming force surges from the statue into every limb, every vein of your body. You shudder violently, and then, the first thread of soul power is finally born within you. Level 1, Level 2, Level 3. Your soul power surges like a breached dam. Level 5, Level 8, Level 10. Your meridians widen rapidly. Your flesh and blood are forged and refined over and over. Your bones crackle in a rapid staccato. Level 12, Level 15, Level 18. Not until your soul power breaks past Level 20 does the surge finally begin to slow. You stand outside the Skyreach sect's gate, your robes stirring though there's no wind. Deep within your pupils, a faint streak of dark red divine light flickers. You slowly raise your right hand. With a single thought, a ripple spreads across the space before you. The next instant, your body vanishes from where you stood. When it reappears, you're already standing 10 meters away. Space itself has become your speed. This is the power of Voidwing. You were never truly at level 0 soul power. You were level 20 innate soul power all along. You never had a worthless martial soul. No one in the entire Skyreach sect was ever qualified to understand what your martial soul truly was. You slowly turn back to look at the Skyreach sect's gate, half lost in the mist behind you. It still stands towering, still seemingly unreachable. But in your eyes, right now, it holds no weight over you at all anymore. From today, I owe the Skyreach sect nothing. Not long after you leave outside the Skyreach sect's gate, The once still air suddenly splits open with a faint, dark crack. It looks as though torn apart by some terrifying force. At the very same moment inside the Elder's Hall, Aldrich's head snaps up. Roderick rises to his feet instantly. Both of them sense, almost simultaneously, a strange ripple in space. The presence is faint, yet impossibly ancient, and unmistakably domineering. In the next moment, Aldrich's figure blurs and vanishes from the hall. The other elders follow close behind. But by the time they reach the outer gate, there's no trace left, only a still unhealed rift hanging in the air. The moment Aldrich's fingertip nears the rift, he feels something sharp and chaotic radiating from the space itself. His expression changes instantly. Such pure spatial power, and the presence feels young. Sect Master. If this really is a young space-type soul master, their talent must be terrifying. If we could find them and bring them into the sect, we'd gain a future powerhouse for the sect. But Aldrich doesn't answer right away. Because as he looks down, he suddenly spots a single drop of blood, still fresh beside the rift. It's the very blood that dripped from your lips earlier, when you withstood Roderick's crushing pressure. Aldrich's fingers freeze. An absurd, almost unthinkable idea suddenly rises in his mind. Silas had zero innate soul power. His martial soul was just a broken stone statue. How could he possibly be connected to this rift? Sect Master, we need to find this person as quickly as possible. Space-type talents are far too rare. If the Hall of Souls or the Sevenfold Glass Sect gets to them first, it would be a tremendous loss. Find them. I'll send people down the mountain at once. No. Search quietly. Don't alert anyone. And then, find out exactly where Silas went after he left. Fixedly at the slowly healing rift in space, and for the first time, a feeling rises in his chest. He can't quite put into words. An unease. Perhaps the person they drove away today was never truly worthless at all. 30 miles beyond the Skyreach sect, you finally come to a stop. Here lies a remote, secluded valley, steep cliffs enclosing it on every side, its forest thick and dense. You stand at the valley's entrance, glance back once toward the path you came from to confirm no one is pursuing you, then finally let out a slow breath. Back at the Skyreach sect's gate, Voidwing's awakening happened far too suddenly. Though you already feel that unprecedented, powerful soul power surging within you, you haven't yet had the chance to truly process this transformation. You walk toward a flat, green stone deep in the valley, sit cross-legged, and with a single thought, black light surfaces in your palm. The statue everyone in the Skyreach sect dismissed as a worthless martial soul appears before you once more. Its surface is still webbed with cracks, but a small patch near its base has already broken away. And beneath that broken shell isn't ordinary stone at all. It's an ancient divine tablet, engraved with the faint blurred outline of a figure. You can't make out its features, but around that shadowy figure radiates an indescribable ancient pressure. There's no doubt about it. This is Voidwing, one of the 12 primordial totems, master of space and unmatched speed. You stare at the tablet for a long moment. Then a wave of knowledge suddenly floods into your mind from the tablet, as if the martial soul itself is deliberately passing it to you as instinct. The totem statue is never a single martial soul. It's a divine rank martial soul formed from the combined essence of all 12 primordial totems. Each totem corresponds to a supreme law. Voidwing governs space. Emberking governs fire. Tideborn governs water. Stormfang governs thunder. Earthwarden governs earth. Frostveil governs ice. Lifebloom governs life. Governs the metal of slaughter. Chronarch governs time. Windrender governs wind. Deathshade governs poison and death. And more still govern lightning and beyond. The one you've awakened right now is only the first, totem Voidwing. At the same time, you finally understand why, on the day of your original awakening, you were judged to have zero innate soul power. It was never that you had none at all. It was that the statue of the 12 totems had never truly opened in the first place. It didn't recognize the version of you still tethered to the sect. It didn't recognize you while your karma remained unsevered. And it certainly didn't recognize the you who, deep down, still considered yourself part of the Skyreach sect. Not until today, when you returned your father's identity token, refused the sect's parting gift, severed every bond of debt and grievance, and walked out of the Skyreach sect's gate. From that exact moment, you were no longer a Skyreach sect disciple, no longer a Skyreach sect servant. You were simply Silas. That's why the statue opened and Voidwing had to wake. Now, you need to first grow familiar with the base abilities Voidwing has granted you. You raise a hand, and the Voidwing tablet glows faintly. A strange ripple of space wraps instantly around your entire body. You close your eyes and begin sensing your surroundings carefully. Almost at once, you realize your perception has completely changed. Before, you could only see with your eyes, hear with your ears, feel the wind and rustling grass through your body. But now, you can sense the ripples of space itself. When wind sweeps through the valley, it leaves faint ripples across space. When a leaf drifts down, it stirs a subtle shift in the space around it. Even an insect crawling through a crack in the rock sends the faintest tremor through space. First, your range reaches 3 meters. Then 5, then 10. Finally, once your perception spreads to around 20 meters, it starts to blur. Clearly, at your current level of soul power and mental strength, you can't yet sustain a wide-range spatial sense for very long. You open your eyes. Your gaze lands on an old tree 10 meters away. The next moment, with a faint thought, the space around you trembles slightly. Your whole body vanishes instantly from the stone. When you reappear, you're already standing beside that old tree. Once this ability is used in combat, it can absolutely outperform anything at the same rank. After all, in a fight between ordinary soul masters, the greatest danger is losing track of the enemy's position. But you can appear behind an enemy in an instant. As long as the timing is right, a single strike could decide the entire fight. Your second attempt covers 15 meters successfully. Your third attempt covers 20 meters, still successful, though this time your body starts to feel a faint tearing sensation. On your fourth attempt, you push for 25 meters. The moment you reappear, your footing stumbles and a tightness spreads through your chest. It's clear that without a soul ring to support you, teleporting beyond 20 meters already carries a real strain. If you force it repeatedly, both your body and your soul power will struggle to keep up. So you stop at once, sit back down on the stone, and begin considering what your first soul ring should be. Plenty of ordinary speed-type soul beasts exist: gale wolves, wind shadow panthers, swift shadow deer, silverwing eagles. But compared to Voidwing's true spatial essence, none of them come close to a real match. What you need isn't simply speed, it's a soul beast that can resonate with spatial ripples themselves. Soon a name surfaces in your mind: the Voidmist Panther. An extremely rare, 1,000-year soul beast, born with the ability to blink across short distances. Once fully grown, it's blindingly fast and a natural assassin. But the problems are just as clear. First, the Voidmist Panther is exceedingly rare. Second, it's extremely dangerous. And finally, the most crucial point of all, for an ordinary soul master's first ring, most only choose a 10-year beast. A more gifted one might manage a 100-year ring. But from the moment you awaken the 12 totem statue, you are never going to walk the path of an ordinary soul master. The instant this thought settles, your eyes harden with resolve. Your first destination, the Starfall Wilds. You withdraw the 12 totem statue, shoulder your pack, and prepare to move on. But just as you step out of the valley, urgent hoofbeats echo from the mountain path ahead. You freeze mid-step, then slip instantly into the trees. Moments later, 3 horses race past along the path. The riders wear Skyreach sect outer disciple robes. One of them holds a portrait. Though the distance isn't close, thanks to your spatial senses awakened by Voidwing, you still make out the figure in the portrait clearly. It's you. Just as expected, that rift in space outside the gate has already drawn Aldrich's suspicion. Once the 3 riders have ridden off, you step out of the trees and press a hand against a nearby tree trunk. The Voidwing tablet inside you trembles faintly. Spatial ripples spread outward. Before long, you're able to trace a hidden path around the road, guided by the subtlest shifts in the surrounding space. For the next 3 days, you avoid the main road entirely, hiding in the forest by day and traveling by night. Whenever you sense Skyreach sect disciples searching for you, you use your spatial sense to avoid them in advance. Finally, on the morning of the 4th day, you cross beyond the Skyreach sect's territory and reach a small town at the edge of the Starfall Wilds. You trade your old Skyreach sect robes for a set of gray combat clothes and buy an ordinary short blade. By evening, you step into the Starfall Wilds. The light around you fades quickly. Towering ancient trees blot out the sky above. Distant growls of soul beasts echo now and then. You don't rush deeper, but slow your pace instead, pushing Voidwing's spatial sense to its limit: 10 meters, 20 meters, 30 meters. Every faint tremor around you gradually enters your awareness. In a hollow to your left, a 10-year bee-rat stirs. In the grass ahead to your right, a 20-year jade-scale serpent coils. High in the canopy in the distance, several black-feathered ducks watch you closely. On the first day, you find no target, resting for 2 hours in an old tree instead. On the second day, you push deeper along the outer edge and encounter a 100-year gale wolf. It's incredibly fast. An ordinary person would likely have died beneath its claws already. But against Voidwing's spatial sense, every one of its attack paths is laughably clear. So instead of killing it, you use the fight to practice spatial evasion. After a dozen or so exchanges, your control over short-range spatial shifts grows far more precise. At dusk on the 3rd day, you arrive at a mountain stream. Just as you're about to draw water, the Voidwing tablet inside you trembles faintly. A strange ripple disturbs the space nearby. It's not the wind. It's not an ordinary beast running. It's the trace left behind by some short-range spatial tear. You immediately drop low and quietly follow the ripple. After slipping through a stretch of bushes, you finally spot the target. Across the stream, a beast covered head to tail in silver-gray fur, its body long and lean, lies atop a boulder, licking at its wounds. Faint silver patterns trace across its fur. With every breath, the air around it ripples slightly, and along its belly, a wound cuts deep enough to expose bone. It's clearly just come from a brutal fight. You recognize it instantly, a Voidmist Panther, and judging by its size and presence, at least 1,000 years old. Your heart races uncontrollably for a moment, but in the next instant your expression turns grim. because the Void Mist Panther seems to sense something. It stops licking its wound abruptly. Then its deep blue eyes slowly turn toward where you're hidden. 1,000-year soul beast senses are sharper than you'd imagined. You grip the short blade at your waist. Your level 20 soul power quietly begins to circulate. Just as you prepare to strike first, the Void Mist Panther suddenly vanishes from the boulder. The next instant, a wave of icy killing intent surges at you from behind. You don't hesitate for even a moment. The Voidwing tablet inside you pulses violently. In an instant, the ripples of space around you become clearer than ever before. You don't even turn your head. You rely purely on the faint spatial distortion behind you, shifting your body left half a step by pure instinct. In the next instant, a burst of force grazes past your shoulder. Your gray combat clothes tear instantly, and a searing pain flares across your shoulder. Blood runs down your sleeve. You push off with your toes and pull back fast. At the same moment, the Void Mist Panther lands exactly where you had been standing. After its strike misses, it doesn't chase immediately. Instead, it turns slowly, fixing its deep blue eyes on you. And in that gaze, there's something, almost human, surprise. Clearly, it never expected that a human boy with no soul ring at all could dodge its spatial ambush. You stare right back at it, your breathing slowly steadying. The Void Mist Panther stretches nearly 2 meters long, silver gray from head to tail, its limbs long and powerful. Silver patterns trace across its fur, and along its belly, the wound that cuts to the bone is still seeping blood, with scorch marks visible near the edges. It looks like it just fought a thunder-type soul beast. This is your opening. A low growl rumbles in the Void Mist Panther's throat. It seems to sense something in you, a spatial presence similar to its own yet far more ancient. That's what unsettles it. But instinct quickly overrides that unease. In the next moment, its hind legs explode with force, its body streaking forward as a silver-gray blur, charging straight at you. Your pupils narrow. Voidwing's spatial sense fully unfolds. Every spatial ripple within 30 meters is forced into your awareness at once. In your mind, the Void Mist Panther's movement becomes a single sharp trajectory. You don't meet it head-on. Your feet pivot sharply, and your body skims low across the ground at an angle. Its claws rake past your chest, the force tearing through the air with a piercing shriek of wind. At the same time, you seize the opening and swing your blade straight for the wound on its belly. But just as the blade is about to land, the space around the Void Mist Panther shudders. It forces itself half a foot sideways. Your blade only grazes its fur, leaving a shallow mark, far from anything vital. Then its tail lashes out like a steel whip. You don't have time to fully dodge. You block with your arm, and the sheer force slams into it. In an instant, you're sent flying backward, crashing hard into a tree trunk. Your chest tightens painfully, you nearly cough up blood, but you grit your teeth and force yourself back up. Your left arm has gone numb, yet your gaze only sharpens further. Because that last exchange has already made one thing clear to you. Your advantage isn't strength, it's perception, it's foresight, it's the spatial instinct Voidwing has given you. In other words, you need to force it to keep using its spatial blink. That's the only way you'll be able to predict where it lands, and catch the opening the moment it reappears. So instead of rushing to attack, you lower your stance slightly, exposing what looks like a gap in your defense. Sure enough, the Void Mist Panther growls low, and lunges again. This time, instead of pulling far away, in the exact moment it closes in, you step forward half a pace, straight into its path. It's an incredibly dangerous move. You're practically delivering yourself right into its claws. But that's exactly the point. It forces the Void Mist Panther to change its attack angle. Its claw, originally aimed at your chest, has to shift downward, due to the sudden change in distance. And that split second is exactly what you needed. Your body drops sharply. Your blade flips backhand and sweeps upward. The target, once again, its belly wound. The Void Mist Panther's eyes contract sharply. The next instant, space ripples once more. Its body vanishes in a blink. A golden flash sparks in your eyes. The Voidwing tablet trembles wildly. Your awareness of shifting space is pushed to its absolute peak. 7 steps behind you, to the left, at roughly chest height, a faint distortion appears. Without a second thought, you release your blade, hurling it free, while your body drops and rolls to the right. In the very next instant, the Void Mist Panther materializes behind and to your left. Its claws rake past mere inches from the back of your skull. But the blade you already threw strikes true, landing exactly on the wound at its belly. A sharp pain tears through your back. You grunt, a coppery taste rising in your throat. Blood spills straight from your mouth onto the ground. At the same time, the Void Mist Panther fares no better. Blood pours steadily from its belly, its strength visibly draining. But its eyes only grow more vicious, because wounded soul beasts are often far more dangerous than usual, especially predators like this one. The moment it senses its prey might actually threaten it, it fights with everything it has. You force yourself up off the ground. Your blade is still lodged in the Void Mist Panther's belly, leaving your hands empty. But that hardly matters. The thing that will actually kill it was never that ordinary blade. It's the wound it's already carrying. All you need to do now is stall. Stall until it bleeds out. Stall until its spatial blinks start showing cracks. Stall until it can no longer sustain top speed. But the Void Mist Panther is clearly no fool. It seems to realize it can't afford to drag this out either. It stops testing you. Its body drops low, every silver marking flaring to life. The space around it turns into chaos in an instant. Not good. It's about to chain multiple blinks together. The next instant, it vanishes. You twist immediately, but claws still rake across your right shoulder, leaving a bloody streak. It vanishes again, lunging forward. Claws graze past your back. On the third blink, it appears directly above you. You force Void Wing's power into motion, shifting your body 3 meters sideways in an instant. The Void Mist Panther's claw shatters the rock, where you had just been standing. The moment your feet touch ground again, your steps stagger. Chaining spatial shifts back to back is an enormous strain on you right now. Worse still, with no soul ring to support you, your soul power is draining fast. But the Void Mist Panther isn't faring any better. The wound on its belly, torn open, again and again by each blink, has spilled blood nearly across the entire ground. You can feel its spatial ripples starting to grow erratic. Which means, hold on just a little longer, and it's bound to expose a far bigger opening. But the Void Mist Panther proves fiercer than you expected. On its fourth blink, it doesn't go for your back this time. It appears directly in front of you instead, less than a meter away. Its deep blue eyes are ice cold. Its claws drive straight for your heart. This strike is far too close for any real evasion. But in this split second between life and death, Voidwing's ancient low voice suddenly echoes through your mind. Space is not a path. It is a door. Your pupils contract sharply. There's no time to think. Purely on instinct, you force every last drop of soul power into the Voidwing tablet. In an instant, the space before you seems to split open, a seam tearing through the air. Your entire body is yanked into an impossibly thin fold of space. The Void Mist Panther's claws pass straight through where your chest was, yet draw not a drop of blood, because it strikes nothing but air. You're no longer in that layer of space at all. The next instant, you tumble out beside it. The forced passage through space tears through your whole body with agony, small cuts splitting open across your skin. But your right hand has already closed around the hilt of the blade lodged in its belly. The Void Mist Panther's eyes contract sharply. It tries to blink away again, but there's no time left. You grip the blade with both hands, every ounce of strength exploding out. Die! The blade tears violently upward along the original wound, cutting deep through flesh, ripping through its insides. The Void Mist Panther lets out an agonized shriek, one claw slamming into your chest. But you don't let go. Instead, you clamp your arms around its body, holding on with everything you have. The blade keeps driving upward, blood drenching you completely. The Void Mist Panther's claw comes down again, tearing your left shoulder nearly open. The pain blackens your vision. But still, you don't let go. Your jaw clenches, veins bulging across your forehead. The last thread of soul power in your body surges into your arm. The blade finally punches through its chest cavity, driving straight into its heart. The Void Mist Panther's body locks rigid, the ferocity in its eyes fading fast. Its jaw opens, as if still trying to tear out your throat, but in the end, it simply collapses, lifeless. You go down with it. There isn't a single part of you that doesn't hurt. Shoulders, back, chest, arms, every inch of you feels torn open. And yet, you smile. No soul ring. No soul skill. Just an ordinary blade, Voidwing's freshly awakened spatial sense, and nothing but sheer will to survive. You've brought down 1,000-year soul beast. If anyone from the Skyreach sect had witnessed this, you can only imagine their expressions. You force yourself to sit up, your gaze landing on the Void Mist Panther's body. Above it, a pale violet soul ring slowly forms. This Void Mist Panther's age is likely close to 1,300 years. Your expression turns grave almost at once, because killing it was only the first step. The real danger lies in absorbing its ring, and worse, you're already badly wounded. Absorbing the ring now only raises the risk further. If your body can't handle it, your body could rupture and kill you outright. But giving up now? You refuse to accept that. You don't waste much time hesitating. First, you bind your shoulder and arm tightly with strips of cloth, squeezing out the deeper wounds, then force down the churning blood surging in your chest. Finally, you sit cross-legged beside the ring and draw a deep breath. Voidwing, this first ring is all on you now. With a single thought, the 12 totem statue surfaces, the Voidwing tablet glowing with a faint red light. You guide the ring, letting it descend slowly. The instant it touches your body, a violently overwhelming force of soul power floods straight into your meridians. Your body convulses. Every wound you'd barely managed to seal tears open again all at once. Blood pours out once more. You clamp your jaw shut, refusing to let a single cry escape. But the pain keeps coming, wave after wave. The ring's energy battering your wounds over and over. You're on the verge of blacking out. No, you can't. The moment your mind slips away, the ring's energy will spiral completely out of control. You force your mind to steady, pulling yourself back through 7 years as a servant, again and again. You already made it through that. You've already awakened. How could you possibly die here, on your very first ring? Just as your consciousness is nearly swallowed by the pain, the Voidwing tablet's light grows brighter and brighter inside you. The lingering spatial power left by the Void Mist Panther seems to encounter a far higher source, and the once wild energy is gradually subdued. Then, Voidwing's shadowy form slowly rises behind the statue. 6 legs, 4 wings, an eternal, unextinguished soul light. Space ripples around it like the tide. It says nothing, simply spreading its 4 wings wide. In that instant, the chaotic spatial energy inside you flows toward the Voidwing tablet like countless rivers converging into the sea. The violent power is refined bit by bit, and the ring's energy finally begins to merge, truly, into your martial soul. Time crawls by. The wounds on your body scab over, then split open again, over and over. You lose track of how long the pain lasts. Finally, that violet ring settles fully around the 12 totem statue. Your soul power surges sharply. Level 21, 22, 23. It finally slows near level 24. You open your eyes. Deep within your pupils, a thread of silver-gray spatial light flickers and vanishes. Your body is still weak, but the soul power inside you has never felt so full. More importantly, you've gained your first true soul skill. You raise your right hand. The first violet ring rises slowly. The Voidwing tablet blazes with light. Your first soul skill, Voidwing's instant rift strike. Your figure vanishes from where you stand. The next instant, 30 meters away, before an old tree, space tears open violently. Your fist slams forward, its terrifying force punching straight through the trunk. Splinters scatter everywhere. You look down at your own fist. This wasn't a simple teleport. It's the momentum of spatial travel fused directly with an explosive burst of soul power. Instant closing distance. Instant burst. Instant kill. If the enemy isn't prepared, an ordinary rank soul master would almost certainly die, and even a grand soul master would struggle to block it head-on. But before you can even fully process this new skill, the 12 totem statue inside you trembles once again. Beside the Voidwing tablet, a second, long-dormant tablet suddenly glows with a thread of blazing red fire, scorching, fierce, and utterly commanding, as if some slumbering god of fire has cracked open its eyes in the darkness, emberking. But at that very moment, a sharp cry rings out from deep in the forest. "Miss, watch out!" Then, right after, the roars of soul beasts and the panicked shouts of human soul masters erupt one after another. You look up toward the sound. Voidwing's spatial sense spreads out at once. Almost immediately, you catch several chaotic surges of soul power. Someone's being swarmed by soul beasts. At first, you have no intention of getting involved. After all, you've just fought a battle for your life, and your wounds haven't fully healed. Jumping in recklessly would only raise the risk. But in the next moment, a faint floral scent drifts by on the wind. It's a distinctive presence, gentle, pure, carrying an intense sense of life and healing. A name flashes instantly through your mind. The 9-Star Blossom. Across Soul Land, the 9-Star Blossom lineage is exceedingly rare. Only 2 heirs ever exist within the same era. Could it be Lila? You go still for a moment, then withdraw the totem statue and vanish in a blur, racing toward the sound. At the very same time, deep in the outer reaches of the Starfall Wilds, amid a patch of bushes trampled by wolf claws, a lone figure is being driven steadily backward by more than a dozen gale-fiend wolves. The gray-robed elder leading the group carries a full 7 soul rings. Yet his expression is grim. He's not only facing the wolf pack ahead, but also protecting 2 support-type soul masters behind him. One is a middle-aged woman, with a gentle, graceful bearing, her features soft, her posture composed. Even in the midst of danger, she hasn't fully lost her composure. The other is a girl of about 12 or 13, pale blue hair falling past her shoulders, her features cool and delicate, her presence quiet and still. Even though her face has already gone pale, she forces herself to stand her ground without flinching. At the same time, a pure white blossom hovers behind each of them, its petals gently unfurling, radiating a soft, life-giving presence outward. The instant you see this, your eyes flicker slightly. These 2, one grown, one young, are very likely the current heirs of the Rosemere family, and that girl is almost certainly Lila, the one from the original story. You stay hidden behind the old tree, keeping your presence low, watching the battle unfold. First, the gray-robed elder's strength is immense. 2 yellow, 3 violet, 2 black, 7 soul rings in total. He's clearly a genuine soul sage. Next, the older woman beside him is no weaker. 6 soul rings hover behind her. 2 yellow, 3 violet, 1 black, a 6-ring soul emperor. And finally, the girl, Lila, is a 2-ring grand soul master. By all rights, a group like this should face little real danger on the outer edge of the Starfall Wilds. And yet the situation unfolding before you is dire. The gale-fiend wolves surrounding them are simply too many. Worse still, behind the pack stands a wolf noticeably larger than the rest, the silverback wolf king, silver-gray from head to tail, a streak of stark white fur running down its spine. Judging by its presence alone, it's at least a 1,000-year soul beast. And unlike an ordinary beast charging in recklessly, it hangs back instead, directing the pack with low growls. Every time Elder Roland tries to force a breakthrough, the Wolf King redirects the pack to strike at the mother and daughter from the side instead. That's exactly why, despite holding the cultivation of a soul sage, Roland still can't break free. At this moment, he swings his sword, a blade of azure sword chi tearing through the air, driving back 3 charging Gale Fiend wolves instantly. My lady, this silverback wolf king is far too cunning. It refuses to engage directly, just lets its pack wear us down. If this drags on, the scent of blood will draw in every other beast nearby. Roland, protect Lila first. I'll use my 4th soul skill to restore your soul power. The 4th violet ring behind Elena flares to life. The next instant, 9 star blossom petals drift down. Soft white light sinks into Roland's body. Roland's soul power, already badly drained, surges back at once. But before he can even catch his breath, the silverback wolf king lets out a low growl from behind. Instantly, more than a dozen Gale Fiend wolves shift direction all at once. They abandon their frontal assault on Roland entirely, instead converging from every side, straight at Elena and Lila. The Wolf King has clearly spotted the group's weakness. Pin down Roland, then tear through the support-type Soulmaster's line, and the hunt is won. Damn it. The 6th ring behind Roland. A black ring flares to life. 6 soul skill clear wind blade rain. Countless streaks of azure sword chi erupt from his blade all at once. In an instant, a storm of blades sweeps across the field, driving back most of the pack. But the sheer number of wolves is overwhelming. Even with Roland's lightning reflexes, one Gale Fiend wolf slips past the blade storm, lunging at Elena from behind. Mother, watch out! Elena senses the danger closing in behind her too, but a support-type Soulmaster is still not a combat Soulmaster. Even as a Soul Emperor, she can't mount an effective counterattack against a surprise strike at this range. With no other choice, she spins and pulls Lila behind her instead. At the same moment, the Gale Fiend wolf's jaws snap wide open, its fangs mere inches from Elena's shoulder. But Roland is too far away, Soul Sage or not, there's no time for him to reach her. Just as everyone braces for Elena to take the bite, a calm voice cuts through the forest. 1st soul skill, Void Wing's instant rift strike. Space shudders. Your figure steps out as if straight from the void itself, appearing beside Elena without a trace of warning. In the same instant, silver-gray light gathers rapidly around your right fist. Just as the wolf's fangs are about to close on Elena, your punch lands. A dull, thunderous crack echoes out. The Gale Fiend wolf skull caves in on impact. Its body crumples and flies backward like a torn sack slamming hard into an old tree. The trunk shudders. The wolf's corpse drops lifeless to the ground. Elena freezes. Lila freezes too. Even Roland's expression turns sharp and focused in that instant, because in that single flash, even with the Soul Sage's cultivation, he couldn't fully track how you appeared. Don't just stand there. The Wolf King's moving. Sure enough, the silverback Wolf King lets out a furious growl. The next instant, its legs explode with force, its massive body streaking forward as a silver-gray blur, charging straight for you. Careful! Your footing shifts slightly, your violet first ring rising slowly behind you. All 3 Rosemers hold their breath at once, but the battle doesn't pause for anyone's shock. The silverback Wolf King is already on you, its razor claws tearing through the air, a piercing shriek of wind trailing behind. But just as its claws are about to land, your body vanishes without warning. The Wolf King's strike hits nothing, genuine confusion flickering through its eyes. At the very same moment, you're already above its head. Void Wing's instant rift strike. The momentum of spatial travel stacks with your level 23 soul power, all of it converging into your fist. The Wolf King's skull is driven straight into the ground. Dirt explodes upwards, stones scattering everywhere. Its massive body convulses violently. But 1,000-year soul beast's vitality is fierce. Even with its skull crushed, it doesn't die instantly. It only grows more enraged, thrashing to rise. But you give it no such chance. Your figure vanishes again, reappearing at its side an instant later, driving another punch straight into its neck bone. A sharp crack of bone echoes out. The silverback Wolf King lets out an agonized howl, its legs seizing rigid before it collapses to the ground, completely still. The moment the Wolf King dies, the remaining Gale Fiend wolves lose all direction. Their once coordinated, vicious assault dissolves into chaos in an instant. Roland naturally seizes the opening. His blade sweeps in a wide arc, streaks of azure sword chi flying out one after another. In mere seconds, several wolves too slow to flee fall where they stand. The rest of the pack whimpers, scattering into the deep forest. The danger has finally passed, yet the entire clearing falls into an eerie silence. None of the 3 Rosemares speak right away. Every eye is fixed on you. 1,000-year soul ring. A space-type soul skill. 1,000-year Wolf King killed in an instant. Any one of these alone would be shocking enough, let alone all 3 appearing at once in a boy this young. After a moment, Elena is the first to recover. Thank you for stepping in. If you hadn't shown up when you did, Lila and I would likely have been hurt. It was nothing. Elena's gaze sweeps over your shoulder and the still healing wounds on your chest. Then she turns to the girl beside her. Lila. Lila nods gently, then steps forward. Behind her, the 9-star blossom slowly unfurls, 2 yellow soul rings rising with it. Soft petals drift down onto you. The next instant, a warm, pure healing power sinks straight into your wounds. The shoulder wound the Voidmist Panther tore open, stops bleeding at a visible pace. The bruising ache in your chest and back eases considerably within moments. A flicker of surprise crosses your eyes. You already knew the 9-star blossom was the strongest healing martial soul on the continent, but only now, feeling it firsthand. Do you truly grasp how strong it really is? Lila notices your gaze and lowers her head slightly. Thank you. Thank you for saving us and for letting her heal you. Elena watches the exchange, a thoughtful smile flickering in her eyes. I'm Elena Rosemere. I'm from the Rosemere family of the Stormcrown Empire. This is my daughter Lila. She glances toward the gray-robed elder beside her. And this is Elder Roland, the Rosemere family's honored guardian. Roland gives you a slight nod. We owe you a great deal for what happened back there, otherwise I'd have failed in my duty today. Silas, no sect, no affiliation. At the mention of that name, something flickers barely noticeable in Elena's eyes. It's hard not to think of the Skyreach sect whenever a powerful soul master carries that surname. But she doesn't press the matter right away. After all, everyone has their own secrets. How old are you, young man? 12. This time, both Elena and Roland's expressions change completely. This goes far beyond ordinary talent. The word genius itself feels inadequate. Lila lifts her head to look at you again. She's around your own age, already a 2-ring Grand Soul Master herself, a standout even at the Stormcrown Royal Academy. But compared to you, your progress is almost absurd for someone your age. Silas, that violet ring you just used, is that your first soul ring? It is, though Elena had already suspected as much. Hearing you confirm it directly, still draws a sharp breath from her. 1,000-year first ring, how did your body even survive absorbing it? I've had an unusual constitution since I was young. After my martial soul awakened, my body's endurance rose sharply, and that beast happened. To be an unusually good match for my martial soul, I got lucky. Elena is sharp enough not to press further, because she knows that true prodigies always carry secrets they can't easily reveal. You're no ordinary title Duluo in the making. So you came into the Starfall Wilds for your first ring then? That's right, I only absorbed it recently. Roland's gaze on you has already shifted, from simple gratitude to genuine astonishment. Elena meanwhile gets straight to the point. If you've already secured your first ring, then next you'll be needing to find a second, won't you? That's right. This is exactly the answer Elena's been waiting for. You saved Lila and me today. The Rosemere family cannot let a debt like that go unpaid. If you're willing, we can help you find your second ring. Roland is a 7-ring soul sage. I'm a healing-type soul emperor. With us at your side, at least here on the edge of the Starfall Wilds, you'll be far safer. You could genuinely use the support right now. Going after your second ring alone would be extremely risky. And the Rosemere family is willing to invest in you. Exactly what covers your biggest current weakness. What's more, both Elena and Lila carry the 9-star Blossom Martial Soul. With them nearby, your odds of successfully absorbing a high-year ring will only rise. So you're here for a ring too? Lila just broke through to level 30. We came here looking for her third ring, but we accidentally wandered into Gale Fiend Wolf territory and got cornered by the pack. You think it over for a moment. Your goals don't conflict. In that case, teaming up is clearly the best option. Deal. A flicker of delight crosses Elena's eyes. So Silas, what are you looking for in a second ring? Fire type, ideally 3,000 years or older. The air goes suddenly still. The smile on Elena's face freezes. Roland's grip on his sword hesitates for a beat. Even Lila, usually so quiet, can't help but look up at you. Silas, that you absorbed a 1,000-year first ring is already an unprecedented miracle, but a second ring past 3,000 years, the risk is simply too great. Absorbing a ring is no small matter. If your body can't withstand it, at best your meridians shatter, at worst your body ruptures outright. Your talent is already extraordinary. There's no need to gamble your future away on this. Elena's words are a genuine warning, so you take no offense. Instead, you simply raise your right hand, and the next instant the 12 totems statue surfaces, your first violet ring rising slowly. At the same time, beside the Voidwing tablet, a second tablet flickers faintly with a thread of blazing red light. The temperature of the air around you rises noticeably. My martial soul is unusual. After my first ring, I can feel a second power stirring awake inside me. It needs a fire-type ring. An ordinary ring won't be able to carry it. Roland stares at the 12 totem statue, awe deepening in his eyes. This martial soul radiates a presence unlike any weapon-type soul, and unlike any beast-type soul either. Ancient, weighty, commanding, even a soul sage like him feels an instinctive pressure from it. Elena falls silent for a moment, then finally sighs. Since your mind is already made up, I won't stand in your way. But understand this, if the beast's age is too extreme, I will stop you from absorbing it. Understood. Then it's settled. We'll help Lila find her third ring first, then help you find your second. That works for me. But this place reeks of blood. We should move on first. You're right about that, Silas. With this many beasts killed here just now, stronger predators will be drawn in soon enough. The group quickly moves on. Before long, at a makeshift camp, Lila tends to your wounds once more. The 9-star Blossom's healing is gentle yet lasting. Your injuries stabilize quickly. Meanwhile, Elena speaks quietly with Roland off to the side. Roland, what's your read on him? Silas is unfathomable. His soul power level isn't high, but his combat instincts, his martial soul's quality, his spatial soul skills, all of it far exceeds anyone his age. And more than that, he was far too calm facing a 1,000-year wolf king. Put simply, he doesn't act like a boy who just earned his first soul ring. If the Rosemere family can build real ties with him, we might gain a titled Duluale down the road. Not might, will. Meanwhile, deep in the outer reaches of the Starfall Wilds, you sit cross-legged beneath an old tree, slowly opening your eyes. After a night of steady breathing exercises combined with the 9 star blossoms healing, your wounds have largely healed. Your shoulder, back, and chest still ache faintly, but at least none of it hinders your movement anymore. More importantly, your soul power has recovered to roughly 70 or 80%. If a beast attacks next, you're already able to use your first soul skill without issue. At the same moment, Elena walks over from the other side. How are your injuries, Silas? You stand up, rolling your shoulder. Nothing serious anymore. Elena's gaze sweeps over the several scabbed-over wounds on your body, and a flicker of surprise crosses her eyes. Your recovery speed is faster than I expected. Lila's healing is excellent. Not far off, Lila's fingers pause slightly, then she lowers her head and goes back to sorting her things, though the tips of her ears look a touch redder than before. Elena catches the sight, a hint of amusement flickering in her eyes. Before long, Roland returns from patrolling the camp's perimeter. Elena, no strong beast presence nearby. We can push southeast next to search for Lila's third ring. We'd want a plant-type healing beast, ideally between 1,500 and 2,000 years old. Too low and the boost won't be enough. Too high and her body may struggle to handle it. This lines up closely with what you already know of Soul Master theory. Though the 9-star blossom is unusual, since every ring it absorbs eventually converts into healing power, the original beast's attributes still shape the direction that healing takes. If the beast has a strong vitality, then the healing the ring provides will be more stable. If the beast has regeneration, evolution, or growth traits, its compatibility with the 9-star blossom will be even higher. Any specific candidates in mind? Ideally, the violet heart orchid, the spirit root vine, or the tree of life, something in that family. Of those, the violet heart orchid suits Lila best. It isn't particularly aggressive on its own, but its gentle life essence would expand her healing range and boost her efficiency. The violet heart orchid typically grows in damp, shaded places nourished by soul beast remains. If there's a small water source nearby, our odds of finding it rise sharply. Elena and Roland both turn to look at you. Even Lila lifts her head, curiosity flickering in her eyes. Silas, you know soul beast habits too? I read some books once. Something odd flickers in Roland's eyes. Even a boy who reads rarely bothers memorizing the growth habits of an obscure healing plant beast like the violet heart orchid. Yet you not only remembered it, you described it with striking accuracy. Elena's regard for you deepens further. Well then, we'll trust your lead today. Let's search along the water source. You don't refuse. Voidwing's spatial sense is built mainly to catch ripples in space, but within a certain range, it also sharpens your awareness of shifts in terrain. Soon, the 4 of you leave the camp. Roland takes the lead, his strength as a 7-ring soul sage making him the natural choice to clear the path. You stay slightly behind, covering the flank and any sudden threats. Elena and Lila stay protected in the middle. Half an hour later, you enter a noticeably damper stretch of forest. The ground here is soft, thick with rotting leaves, the air carrying a faint mist. Shade-loving plants grow thick all around. You come to a stop, close your eyes to sense for a moment, then point southeast. There's water that way. Roland leads the way. Sure enough, a narrow stream appears before long, right where you pointed. Good spot. I can feel the life presence here is far denser than out there. But you don't relax because of it. Instead, you look deeper into the ravine, your brow twitching slightly. Normally a water source like this should be teeming with small soul beasts, but the insect chirps and bird calls here are strangely sparse. If this were a powerful beast territory, that would make sense. But I'm not sensing any strong presence here, which means something here might be exceptionally good at hiding. You raise a hand, signaling the group to halt. Roland tightens his grip on his blade at once. Elena pulls Lila close beside her. What is it? You don't answer right away. Instead, you look ahead to the left, at a patch of vines hanging motionless from a tree trunk, indistinguishable from any other plant nearby. But within your spatial sense, the ripple there feels far heavier than anywhere else, as if something massive is layered underneath. Elder Roland, cut that vine. Roland doesn't hesitate. His blade clears its sheath, azure sword sheath sweeping out. The vine severs cleanly, but in the next instant the entire ground trembles violently. Countless dark green vines erupt from beneath the rotting leaves, whipping toward the group like striking snakes. Roland's eyes turn cold. A 1,000-year ghost vine. A plant-type soul beast with an unmatched binding ability. Once caught, its thorns pierce straight into flesh, draining soul power and blood alike. Roland is already moving to strike, but you move first. Your first violet ring flares to life. First soul skill, Voidwing's instant rift strike. Space shudders. You appear instantly at the vine's densest point. The next instant, your fist slams into the ground. The spatial shockwave ripples outward, rotting sap and soil bursting upward together. The ghost vine, hidden underground, is exposed at once, a tangled, coiling mass of dark green roots. Admiration flickers in Roland's eyes. Well spotted. His blade comes down, azure sword chi striking with pinpoint precision. The root mass splits apart. The ghost vine convulses violently. Countless vines go limp, drooping lifelessly to the ground. Before long, a pale violet soul ring rises slowly into view. About 1,000 years old, give or take. A pity, though, it doesn't suit Lila. Elena turns to you, a hint of surprise in her eyes. Silas, how did you spot its true location just now? No matter how many vines there are, they all trace back to one center. Find where the spatial ripples gather thickest, and you find the source. Elena nods thoughtfully. You make it sound simple, but pulling that off in a single instant is anything but easy. You don't elaborate since you'd rather not go into too much detail about exactly what Voidwing's spatial sense can do. You glance once more at the ghost vine's remains, and a thought suddenly strikes you. By all rights, a low-aggression species like the violet heart orchid shouldn't be able to grow anywhere nearby, unless its location was somewhere the ghost vine simply couldn't reach, or unless something even stronger was guarding that ground instead. Keep moving in. But be careful. There may be more than one plant-type beast here. The group presses deeper along the ravine. The deeper you go, the denser the plant life grows. Branches tangling overhead, vines hanging low, the ground carpeted thick with rotting leaves. And the sense of life in the air grows steadily stronger. Before long, a small pool suddenly appears ahead. Small pale violet flowers bloom all around it, a faint fragrance drifting on the breeze, settling the mind almost instantly. The moment Lila draws near, the 9-star blossom behind her surfaces on its own, its petals trembling faintly. Mother, I can feel it. Delight spreads across Elena's face too. It's the violet heart orchid. Your gaze lands on the center of the pool, where a violet orchid, standing about waist high, grows quietly between the rocks. Its petals shimmer, roots trailing down into the spirit water, a gentle aura of life radiating from it. Judging by its presence, it's at least 1,800 years old. You're in luck, Lila. This violet heart orchid's age and attributes are both a perfect match. Lila nods gently, a rare spark of joy surfacing in her cool eyes. But you don't relax. Everything about this feels far too easy. If the violet heart orchid truly had no protection, the ghost vine would have consumed it long ago. Which means something about this pool isn't right. You sweep your gaze slowly around it, Voidwing's spatial sense spreading outward. A moment later, your gaze snaps down toward the water below. Something there ripples heavier than anywhere else, as if something enormous is lurking beneath the surface. Get back! In the next instant, the pool erupts violently. A massive dark shape surges up from the depths, jaws snapping wide open, lunging straight for the nearest person. Lila. It's an enormous serpent, ink green from head to tail, a single horn on its head, its belly covered in dark violet scales. A rancid toxic stench blasts outward. Roland's pupils contract sharply. A venom marsh python, and past 3,000 years. Elena lunges to pull her daughter back. But the python is faster. Its razor fangs are already closing in on Lila, less than 10 feet away. In this split-second life-or-death moment, the violet ring behind you flares to life. Voidwing's instant rift strike. Lila's eyes widen slightly. A figure suddenly blocks her path. Your fist drives straight into the venom marsh python's upper jaw. The sheer force snaps its head upward violently. But a 3,000-year soul beast's power is nothing like the 1,000-year wolf king's before it. The recoil surges back through your fist, your entire arm going numb instantly. Your body's forced half a step back. Go! Only now does Lila snap back to her senses. Elena yanks her daughter clear. The venom marsh python, driven back by your strike, erupts with fury. Its tail lashes out, but Roland is already there. Vile beast! The rings behind him flare to life one after another, his blade blazing with brilliant azure light. 6 soul skill, Clearwind Blade Rain. In an instant, countless streaks of sword chi rain down onto the python's body. Its scales are tough, but under a soul sage's onslaught, gash after gash still opens across its hide. It lets out a furious hiss, then spews a thick cloud of dark green venomous mist from its jaws. Elena's face pales. Roland, watch the poison! You stand off to the side, watching the mist spread, thinking it through. This python is clearly using the violet heart orchid's life essence, either to suppress its own venom, or to speed along some kind of metamorphosis. And the reason the orchid has been able to grow here undisturbed is most likely because the python's presence has scared off every other beast. In other words, the snake and the flower have formed some kind of strange symbiosis. If you want the violet heart orchid's ring now, you'll have to deal with the python first. Roland may be a soul sage, and killing a 3,000-year python wouldn't normally be difficult for him. But the real problem is, if the venom marsh python retreats back into the pool, the fight turns troublesome instantly. So its escape route has to be cut off. You look toward the pool, quickly gauging the distance. About 35 meters, within Voidwing's instant rift strike's current range. It'll cost you plenty, though. Elena notices your posture shift. Silas, don't do anything reckless. It's heading for the water. If it gets in, it'll be nearly impossible to kill. The next instant, you're already at the edge of the pool. Sure enough, the python is trying to break free from Roland, retreating toward the water. Seeing you block its path, savagery flares in its eyes. It opens its jaws and spits a stream of venom. You don't dare take it head-on, flickering sideways at once. The venom hits the ground, scorching the earth into a black pit instantly. The venom marsh python closes in. You don't fight it head-on. Instead, you rely on Voidwing's spatial sense to keep dodging its strikes one after another. Your goal isn't to kill it outright. It's just to hold it in place. In an instant, Roland arrives. Silas, move! You dodge right at once. At the same moment, the seventh ring behind Roland, black, finally flares to life. True body, the clear wind sword. His blade suddenly grows massive, an azure blur sweeping straight across the pool. With a single strike, the venom marsh python's massive body is sent flying, slamming hard into the shore, scales shattering on impact. Blood sprays out. The python thrashes, trying to strike back, but Roland's eyes harden, and a second strike falls. This time the blade lands precisely on its vital point. The python convulses a few times, then goes completely still. A violet soul ring rises slowly. Roland releases his true body form, letting out a slow breath. Finally handled. Elena turns first to Lila. Are you alright, Lila? Lila shakes her head, then her gaze settles on you. Are you hurt? You glance down at your right arm. From taking the python's jaw head-on earlier, your arm's still numb from the impact, but nothing beyond that. I'm fine. But Lila calls the 9-star blossom out anyway, its petals settling gently on your arm. The numbness fades quickly. You don't refuse, you simply murmur a quiet thanks. Lila shakes her head gently. I should be the one thanking you. Elena watches the exchange, her gaze growing gentler, because she's seen not only your talent, but your character too. You've only just met the Rosemere family, and yet at the critical moment you didn't hesitate to shield Lila. The Rosemere family won't overlook a debt like that. Roland glances once more at the python's body, then turns to you. Your read on it just now was dead on, Silas. If it had reached the water, I'd have had my hands full. It was just, I noticed it was trying to escape. Roland smiles but doesn't press the point further. Reading a python's escape path amid all that chaos, and immediately cutting off the pool, isn't something I just noticed, fully explains. Roland steps forward, clearing away any remaining threats around the violet heart orchid. Lila walks to the edge of the pool. She looks at the violet orchid, something conflicted in her eyes. Plant-type soul beasts may lack aggression, but they still carry an instinct to survive. The orchid seems to sense the danger, its petals trembling faintly, releasing a soft white light. There's nothing aggressive about that glow. If anything, it feels like the orchid is using its own healing essence to soothe Lila. Lila hesitates, reluctant. Her nature has always been quiet and gentle, and facing a healing-type beast like this, a trace of sympathy is only natural. Elena sees her daughter's hesitation. Lila, a soul master's cultivation has always meant contesting life against beasts. If you don't grow stronger, you won't be able to protect yourself in the future, let alone the Rosemere family or the people you want to protect. Lila glances at you instinctively, then pulls her gaze back just as quickly. I understand. Roland moves in to subdue the violet heart orchid, and Lila herself delivers the final blow. Before long, a violet soul ring rises slowly, about 1800 years old. Finally, Lila sits cross-legged, beginning to absorb the ring. Elena and Roland stand guard, and you stand watch as well. Voidwing's spatial sense spread wide, alert for any movement nearby. Half an hour later, the presence around Lila steadies. The 9-star blossom's petals unfurl slowly, and the third violet ring finally settles into place around her. A relieved smile spreads across Elena's face. How do you feel, Lila? Lila opens her eyes, a rare spark of joy in her cool gaze. My healing range has expanded, and it costs less soul power now too. If I push it to the limit, I should be able to sustain more people's recovery at once. Elena nods, satisfied. You look at the 3 rings glowing behind Lila. 2 yellow, 1 violet. A 3-ring soul vanguard at 12 or 13. At the Stormcrown Royal Academy, that alone would already stand out. And if she keeps growing at this rate, her healing power will eventually be terrifying. Lila notices your gaze. What is it? Nothing. Congratulations. Elena watches the two of you, her smile deepening, though she quickly reins her thoughts back in. Silas, now that Lila's ring is settled, let's turn to finding your second. You need fire type, 3,000 years or older. Within that range, there aren't many candidates on the outer edge of the Starfall Wilds. The Blaze Fiend Tiger, the Inferno Lion, the Flame-Striped Lizard, the Blast Flame Ape, those are the most likely candidates. You nod. Of those beasts, the Blaze Fiend Tiger's flame is the fiercest. Its attacks the most vicious. It suits Emberking best. If it becomes my second ring, the soul skill will likely lean heavily toward raw burst damage. Exactly what covers the gap I have now, since I've only got spatial strikes and lack real frontal firepower. But before you can say anything else, the Emberking tablet inside you shudders violently. A burning heat rises up from your core. You jerk your head up, staring toward the southwest edge of the forest, where a wild fire-type presence stirs faintly in the distance. Elena notices the shift in you. Silas, what's wrong? Southwest. There's a beast out there, the one I need. Roland closes his eyes, sensing for a moment, but detects nothing unusual, a flicker of surprise crossing his eyes at that. Elena doesn't doubt you for a moment. Then let's go take a look. The group packs up quickly and heads southwest. The farther you go, the hotter the air grows, scorch marks appearing steadily on the trees around you. Another half-hour later, you arrive at a stretch of blackened, burnt forest. Countless trees lie fallen, the ground scarred everywhere by fire. Clearly, a fierce battle happened here not long ago. Roland crouches down, examining a massive claw print. Blaze Fiend Tiger, and no small one either, roughly 3,000 years, possibly pushing closer to 4,000. Elena glances at you instinctively. But there's no hint of hesitation in your eyes. Instead, a flash of burning eagerness flickers across them. At that moment, deep in the forest, a deafening tiger's roar suddenly erupts, and with it, a wave of scorching heat. The embarking tablet inside you fully lights up in that corner. You slowly clench your fist, the corner of your mouth lifting. Found it. Roland looks at you, seriousness settling into his gaze. Silas, you need to think this through carefully. A second ring at 3,000 years is already the extreme edge of what's survivable. If this Blaze Fiend Tiger is closer to 4,000, the danger multiplies severely. No matter how unusual your martial soul is, and no matter how well your first ring went, this second one still can't be taken lightly. Elena looks to you as well. Silas, I know your martial soul defies common sense, but if a ring absorption fails, the consequences are severe. At best your meridians rupture, at worst your body explodes outright. Your talent is extraordinary. There's no need to chase the extreme edge and put your life on the line for it. Lila stands beside Elena saying nothing, but her cool eyes stay fixed on you the whole time. You understand their concerns well enough. Elena, I understand the risk, but my martial soul is different. If I settle for an ordinary fire-type beast for my second ring, it'd be safer, sure, but it would waste this exact moment while Emberking is stirring awake. I'd rather take the risk now than regret it later. And besides, if I'm choosing this beast, it's because I believe I can handle it. Elena falls silent. Roland doesn't speak right away either, because both of them can tell this isn't youthful recklessness talking. After a moment, Elena finally sighs. Since your mind's already made up, I won't stand in your way. But understand this. If this Blaze Fiend Tiger's age is far past 4,000 years, I will step in and stop you from absorbing it. Roland rises to his feet, slowly drawing his blade. In that case, let's find it first. As long as its age isn't excessive, I'll wear it down to its last breath. But the final blow has to be yours. The four of you press deeper into the scorched forest. The deeper you go, the hotter the air grows. And it's not just that. Soul Beast remains appear more and more often, some burned down to charred half-skeletons, others with shells shattered by fire, still others clearly torn apart by claws first, and then burned. Suddenly, a heavy impact sounds ahead, followed by the crack of splintering trees, and then a low tiger's roar echoing through the forest once more. Roland raises a hand instantly. Just ahead, you all quiet your steps, moving toward the source of the sound. After pushing through a stretch of scorched brush, the path opens up ahead, a clearing burned bare by fire. A massive crimson tiger stands there, one paw pinning down the corpse of a soul beast. The Blaze Fiend Tiger stands nearly 2 meters at the shoulder, its fur rippling like living flame, a dark gold king's mark etched across its forehead. Wherever its paws touch the scorched ground, tiny sparks leap up, and the beast pinned beneath its paw is an iron shell rhino, roughly 2,000 years old. The iron shell rhino's defense is formidable. Most beasts of the same rank can't even crack its shell. And yet right now, that armored shell is charred black and split open, its throat torn open into a gaping bloody wound. Roland's eyes darken. This tiger's combat strength is far beyond an ordinary 3,000-year beast. What's its age? 3,700 at least, possibly close to 4,000. Lila's breath catches slightly. She glances at you instinctively, but there's no hesitation in your eyes at all, only a burning eagerness. Now that's worthy of Ember King. At that same moment, the Blaze Fiend Tiger senses your presence. It stops feeding, slowly lifting its head, its blazing red eyes cutting through the charred trees, locking directly onto where you're hidden. In the next instant, it lets out a deafening roar, the shockwave carrying a wall of heat, dry branches around it bursting instantly into flame. Roland no longer holds back. He steps forward, all 7 rings, 2 yellow, 3 violet, 2 black, flaring to life at once. Soul power light blazes across his blade. But the Blaze Fiend Tiger doesn't flinch in the slightest. If anything, its eyes turn even more savage. Bold for a beast. 3rd soul skill, Featherlight Slash. Roland's 3rd violet ring flares to life. A streak of azure blade light tears through the air, striking the Blaze Fiend Tiger head-on. But the tiger simply opens its jaws and spits out a ball of crimson fire. The blade chi and fireball collide mid-air. Flames explode outward, a wave of heat sweeping across the clearing. But in the next instant, the Blaze Fiend Tiger bursts straight through the fiery explosion, its paw swinging at Roland. Roland's gaze sharpens, his blade raised horizontally to block. The claw lands on the blade with a ringing clash of metal on metal. The force is so immense it cracks the ground beneath Roland's feet in several places. Surprise flashes through Roland's eyes. Its strength isn't weak either. You stand off to the side, watching the battle intently, holding back from acting rashly. At your current strength, you're nowhere near able to face this Blaze Fiend Tiger head-on. Even with Voidwing's instant rift strike, breaking through its defenses would be difficult. And with flames wreathing its entire body, closing the distance recklessly, risks burning yourself in return. So you have to wait for Roland to wear it down first, wait for an opening, wait until it's weak enough for you to deliver the finishing blow yourself. At the center of the clearing, Roland moves like the wind, blade light striking from every angle. Against the Blaze Fiend Tiger, who roars again and again, flames pouring endlessly from its jaws. Behind Elena, the 9-star blossom surfaces, 6 rings glowing, in rhythm, ready to heal at a moment's notice. Lila summons her own 9-star blossom too, 3 rings hovering behind her. Dozens of seconds pass. Roland's brow finally furrows, the 5th violet ring behind him flaring to life. Can't let it keep spreading fire, it'll draw in more beasts. 5th soul skill, Azure Steel Chains. In an instant, dozens of azure blade chi streaks fly out from every direction, not aimed to kill the Blaze Fiend Tiger outright, but transforming instead into chains of blade chi that coil around its limbs and neck. The tiger thrashes wildly, its flames surging violently, the chains of blade chi shuddering under the heat. But they don't break just yet. Roland seizes the opening, closing in, his blade coming down. A wound cuts deep into the tiger's back, exposing bone. Blood sprays outward, but the wound doesn't make it retreat. If anything, it unleashes its full savagery. In the next instant, the dark gold mark on its forehead flares to life, its flames shifting from crimson to a deep, dark red. A surge of violent presence erupts outward. Elena's face pales slightly. It's gone into rage form. The Blaze Fiend Tiger's bloodline talent, for a short window, its strength and flame power will surge dramatically, but after rage form, it'll also burn out and weaken far faster. The chains of blade chi around the tiger begin snapping inch by inch. With a series of cracks, every chain shatters completely. The tiger jerks its head up, its blazing eyes burning with murderous fury. But instead of continuing its assault on Roland, it turns and looks straight at you. Your gaze hardens. This beast is smarter than expected. It knows Roland won't be easy to kill, and it knows you're the one after its ring, so it wants to eliminate the weaker target first. Silas, watch out! Almost simultaneously, the Blaze Fiend Tiger's legs explode with force, scorched earth bursting upward, its massive frame streaking toward you like a comet of fire. Roland's face changes. Back away! But in rage form, the tiger's speed is far too great. In an instant, it's already on top of you, scorching heat blasting across your face. Its claw, wrapped in dark red flame, drives straight for your chest. You don't meet it head-on. Your first ring flares instantly. Voidwing's instant rift strike. Space shudders. Your figure vanishes in an instant. The Blaze Fiend Tiger's claw strikes nothing but air, the ground erupting into a deep, charred crater. When you reappear, you're already behind and to the side of it. But you don't strike. Because right now the flames wreathing the tiger are simply too intense. Closing in for a direct strike isn't worth the risk. So you trigger another spatial shift, pulling distance fast. Once, twice, 3 times. You blink again and again, continuously dodging the Blaze Fiend Tiger's assault. It's driven fully into a rage now. It lunges again and again, each strike coming within a hair of landing, but every single time you vanish at the last possible instant. Still, you know this can't continue forever. You can keep dodging, but Voidwing's instant rift strike costs plenty, and your wounds still haven't fully healed. This needs to end soon. And just as the Blaze Fiend Tiger lunges and misses once more, Roland finally seizes his opening. 6th soul skill, Peerless Sword Aura. The 6th ring behind him, black, flares to life, his blade erupting with brilliant azure light. A single strike of pure concentrated sword aura sweeps out. It catches the tiger's hind leg, bone shattering on impact. Its massive body loses balance instantly, crashing hard onto the scorched earth. Roland gives it no chance to struggle further. His form flickers, and he appears behind the Crimson Flame Tiger. His long sword flicks out, sword energy striking precisely into its limb joints. The Crimson Flame Tiger is completely unable to move, but it is not dead yet. Its chest heaves violently, and dark red flames still spew from its mouth. Silas, now! You don't hesitate. Your first soul skill activates again. Space shudders. Your figure vanishes in an instant, and when you reappear, you're already above the Crimson Flame Tiger's head. It seems to sense death approaching. It jerks its head up and spews one last burst of dark red flame. You're too close, and the flame's range is too wide. You can no longer fully dodge. Elena's face changes sharply. Silas! Lila instinctively clenches her fingers. But just as the flames are about to swallow you, the embarking steel inside you suddenly shakes. An unprecedented surge of scorching power pours out from the steely. In the instant before that dark red flame touches your body, it briefly stalls. In that split second, you force your way through the fire. Your sleeves char black instantly, and pain burns across your skin. But you don't stop. Your right fist gathers every ounce of soul power. Voidwing's phase strike layers its spatial impact together with raw physical force. Then your fist slams into the dark gold crown mark on the Crimson Flame Tiger's forehead. A dull boom rolls out. The tiger's skull shatters on impact, its massive body goes rigid. The savage light in its crimson eyes fades fast. It struggles twice, then crashes to the ground. Soon after, a deep purple soul ring slowly condenses above the corpse. Elena walks over to your side. Her expression is more serious than you've ever seen. Silas, this ring's age is very high. I'll ask you one last time. Are you sure you want to absorb it? You look at the deep purple ring. You nod slowly. I'm sure. Elena takes a deep breath. All right, Lila and I will heal you with everything we have. Roland will guard you. If you can't hold on partway through, don't force it. Understand? You say nothing more, simply sitting cross-legged beside the tiger's corpse. In the scorched clearing of the Starfall Wilds, the idol of the 12 primordial totems rises behind you. The Voidwing Steely is already lit, and the second Steely, Ember King's, shakes violently. Crimson firelight bursts from its cracks as you draw the deep purple ring slowly downward. The instant it enters your body, you feel as though you've been thrown into volcanic magma. Violent, blazing soul power surges into your meridians, and your blood boils. Your bones burn with pain, as if every organ inside you is about to be reduced to ash. The crimson flame tiger's lingering, savage will roars madly inside you. You let out a muffled grunt. Your skin turns red fast, and the scorched earth beneath you starts smoking again from the heat. Elena's face changes. Lila, heal him! Mother and daughter release the 9-star blossom together. 2 pure white blossoms, one large and one small, bloom at once, showering you in soft white light. But this time, the 9-star blossom's healing can barely keep your body from collapsing. It cannot truly suppress the violent flame raging inside you. Mother, his body temperature is still rising. Hold steady, he hasn't given up. At the same time, Roland stands nearby, his grip on his sword tightening slightly. If you truly can't endure it, he'll force the absorption to stop immediately. But the consequences would be just as severe. At best, serious injury, at worst, damage to your soul. So until the very last moment, he cannot afford to act rashly. By now your consciousness has sunk into a sea of crimson fire within you. A massive phantom of the crimson flame tiger is attacking wildly. You stand at the center of the fire sea, your body scorched again and again by the flames. Pain, absolute pain, more direct than the spatial tearing you felt absorbing your first ring. More violent. You can almost feel your own flesh turning to charcoal, inch by inch. But you don't retreat, because behind you the second Steely is cracking open bit by bit. An ancient presence is awakening. A human body with a beast's head, draped in red scales, fire serpents through its ears, fire dragons beneath its feet. The Southern Fire's ancestor, Ember King. Wake! This fire is yours now. The Ember King Steely splits fully open along a crack. In the next instant, endless crimson godfire pours out. The crimson flame tiger's fire, once rampaging through your body, instantly meets a true master. All that violent power is forcibly suppressed. The tiger's phantom lets out a terrified roar, but before it can struggle, Ember King's spirit slowly raises a hand and presses down. The sea of fire rolls back, and the tiger's phantom shatters, breaking apart. The soul ring's raw, violent energy is devoured and refined by the Ember King Steely, finally transforming into the power of your second soul ring. Outside, Elena suddenly notices the intense heat on your body starting to stabilize fast. Your skin, once split open, heals quickly under the 9-star blossom's care. In the next moment, the deep purple ring fully settles onto the idol of the 12 primordial totems. A surge of overwhelming soul power erupts from within you. Level 24, 25, 26, 27. It finally stops at level 28. You slowly open your eyes. A flicker of crimson fire flashes deep in your pupils and vanishes. The idol of the 12 primordial totems hovers behind you. The first steel, Void Wings, ripples with spatial distortion. The second, Ember King's, sends crimson flames rising. 2 purple soul rings, one pale, one deep, hang quietly beside you. Watching this, Elena can't help but draw in a sharp breath. This isn't talent anymore. This is a monster, through and through. The shock in Roland's eyes is just as hard to hide because he suddenly realizes the Rosemere family may not have simply befriended a future titled sovereign. They may have befriended someone who could one day reshape the entire continent. How do you feel? You rise to your feet, feeling the surging power inside you. The corner of your mouth lifts slightly. Good. Better than ever. You raise your right fist, and the second deep purple ring lights up in response. The Ember King Steely's flame flares bright, and crimson fire coils around your fist. The air distorts with heat, and the scorched ground cracks again. Second soul skill, Ember King Skyburn Fist. You drive a punch toward a boulder in the distance. Crimson fire takes the shape of a tiger and slams into the boulder in an instant. It's not simply shattered. Rather, as it bursts apart, the fire burns through it from the inside. By the time the fragments hit the ground, they're already half molten. What overbearing fire! If that punch landed on a soul master, it wouldn't just wound the flesh, it would scorch the soul power too. Spatial strike combined with a fire explosion. Silas, your combat strength can no longer be measured against an ordinary Grand Soul Master. But just as you're taking in this new power, The Voidwing Stele and the Emberking Stele suddenly tremble slightly together. Deep within the idol of the 12 primordial totems, a thread of purple lightning flickers to life on the third stele. The third primordial totem, Stormfang, is beginning to show signs of awakening too. Lightning attribute? Looks like the target for my third soul ring already has a direction. Meanwhile, dozens of miles away, several figures in Skyreach sect robes stand on a hillside. The one leading them stares at the compass in his hand, brow furrowed. Strange. Silas's trail just cuts off here. How could a powerless washout like him move this fast? Could he have died on the sect master's orders stand, bring him back alive, or find the body? Keep searching. The scorched forest gradually falls quiet. Though the battle has ended, the air is still thick with the scent of fire. You look down at your right fist. Now that the Emberking Stele has stabilized, you can clearly feel something new inside you. A scorching, overbearing power. It isn't ordinary fire. It's the first spark of Emberking's true godfire. As long as your soul rings keep advancing, and the Emberking Stele keeps reawakening, this fire will eventually grow to a strength even a titled sovereign would fear. Still, you don't let it go to your head, because you know full well that, for now, you're still weak. Level 28 isn't low among your peers, of course, but across the whole continent, it's barely worth mentioning, especially with the Skyreach sect already hunting your trail. So you need to find a new foothold as soon as possible. A place that offers cultivation resources and can shield you from outside pressure, at least for now. Elena seems to sense what you're thinking. Silas, there's something I want to ask. You're surnamed Draven, and you're still young, and when you said just now that you belong to no sect, your tone didn't sound like an ordinary wandering cultivator's. So, do you have some connection to the Skyreach sect? I did, once, not anymore. My father was a branch member of the Skyreach sect. After my parents died young, Aldrich brought me back to the sect. 7 years ago, I awakened my soul. It was judged a useless stone idol, innate soul power, level 0. So I was demoted to the outer courtyard, 7 years as a laborer. Not long ago, the sect cast me out, took back my identity token, and I refused the travel funds. All debts settled between me and the sect. After I walked out through the gate, my soul truly awakened. Which means from that moment on, I have nothing left to do with the Skyreach sect. Does the sect know about your soul ring configuration now? No. Then someday they're going to kick themselves over this. Elena doesn't laugh. If anything, her expression turns more serious. If the Skyreach sect never learns of your talent, fine. But the moment they do, the washout they cast out turns out to be someone with a first soul ring 1,000 years old, and a second soul ring near 4,000 years, an absolute freak of nature, there's no way they'll stay indifferent. Even if you've declared all debts settled, even though they cast you out first, none of that necessarily matters, not when sect interests are at stake. And you still carry the Draven surname. If the sect wants to, they can use blood ties, old debts, your father's connections, anything to force a bond with you again. Silas, now that you've left the Skyreach sect, what's your plan going forward? First, find somewhere to cultivate, then prepare for a third soul ring. Beyond that, I need to understand the situation out in the world. Elena makes up her mind on the spot. If you're willing, you could come with us to Stormcrown City first. The Rosemere family isn't top tier, but we hold some standing in the Stormcrown Empire. At the very least, we can give you a stable place to cultivate for now. That works, and your soul ring configuration is too unusual. If you move alone, sooner or later every faction out there will notice you. Rather than scrambling to react later, it's better to settle on a proper identity first. Besides, Lila is currently studying at the Stormcrown Royal Academy. Resources there are abundant, the instructors are strong, and more importantly, the Academy stands behind the Imperial family. If you enroll there, no one will move against you openly, at least not easily. Even if the Skyreach sect comes looking, they can't just reach directly into the Stormcrown Royal Academy. Your eyes flicker slightly. It's a solid choice. The Academy's resources are strong, and it's home to figures like Lila, Kai, and Vera. You could use the Academy as a springboard into the Soul Master Tournament storyline. And with the Imperial family's backing, you won't have to face the Skyreach sect's pressure directly, at least for a while. Alright, I'll go to Stormcrown City with you. Delight flashes through Elena's eyes. In her heart, she's already decided. The Rosemere family must secure you and become your earliest ally before you truly rise. She takes out a blossom-shaped jade token and hands it to you. This is the Rosemere guest token. With it, you can enter the Rosemere estate directly in Stormcrown City. If you run into trouble, you can also draw on some of the family's resources. This isn't a leash and it isn't charity, it's simply the Rosemere family's sincerity toward a friend. You saved Lila and me, and you helped her gain her third soul ring. You've earned this token. You stay silent for a moment before taking the jade piece. Thank you, Elena. But before anyone can say more, Roland's brow furrows suddenly, and he looks up toward the distant woods. Someone's coming. Soul Masters. 4 of them. Their auras aren't strong, but their direction is clear. They're heading straight for us. Actually, Roland doesn't need to say more. You've already sensed it through Voidwing's spatial awareness, catching the distant ripple of footsteps. And one of those auras, Feels faintly familiar to you. The Skyreach sect has indeed come looking. Should we avoid them? Too late, and they've already spotted the battle marks. Avoiding them now would only raise suspicion. In that case, the Rosemere family will stand in for you. Moments later, 4 Soul Masters in Skyreach sect outer disciple robes step out of the forest. Leading them is a young man in his 20s, tall and broad-shouldered, a trace of arrogance in his eyes, faintly radiating the presence of a 3-ring soul sovereign. The 3 behind him are all 2-ring Grand Soul Masters. The moment they step into the scorched clearing, the battle scars startle them. The young man in the lead sweeps his gaze over Roland and Elena. His expression shifts at once, and he quickly reins in his arrogance. This one is Marcus, of the Skyreach sect's outer gate. My greetings, Lady Rosemere. What brings the Skyreach sect to the Starfall Wilds? By the sect master's order, we're searching for an outer disciple who recently left the sect. His name is Silas. Marcus's gaze sweeps over the group instinctively, and then he sees you, standing behind Elena. Silas? You're actually here? The 3 Skyreach disciples behind him turn to look at you as well. It really is him. The washout didn't die after all, and he's running with the Rosemere family now? Did the Rosemares pick him up off the road? Lila's brow furrows slightly. Elena's expression cools as well. As for Roland, he simply rests his hand on his sword hilt. But you just watch calmly, looking at the Skyreach disciples with no anger, no need to explain. Silas, the sect master ordered us to find you. Since you're here, come back with us. To do what? The sect master has questions for you. I'm no longer a Skyreach disciple. Just because the sect master wants to ask something doesn't mean I have to go. Silas, don't forget, Skyreach blood still runs in your veins. And if the sect hadn't taken you in for 7 years, you'd have died out there long ago. Your eyes finally cool a degree. The debt for taking me in, I paid it back with 7 years of labor. I returned the identity token, I didn't take the travel funds, so I owe the Skyreach sect nothing. What a joke, a washout with level 0 innate soul power, daring to say he owes the sect nothing. Silas, don't think hiding behind a Rosemere woman lets you put on airs. A washout like you, the sect master agreeing to see you is more honor than you deserve. Elena's face turns completely cold. Roland steps forward at once, releasing just a sliver of soul saint pressure. The disciple's face goes pale and he stumbles back several steps. How dare you? Silas is a guest of the Rosemere family. Who do you think you are? Insulting him here? The disciple is too terrified to say another word. Marcus's expression sours too. He never expected the Rosemere family to stand up for you. Silas, and if I insist on bringing you back? Roland's eyes turn cold. But before he can move, you've already taken a step forward. You're welcome to try. Silas, have you forgotten what you actually are? A washout with level 0 innate soul power, who couldn't even cultivate a soul. And after fluking a few days alive outside the sect, you dare raise your hand against me? The 3 behind him wear mocking looks too. Clearly they still picture you as the useless laborer of the Skyreach sect. Elena doesn't stop you. Roland doesn't draw his sword either, because both of them know these 4 are about to learn what it truly means to misjudge someone. You waste no more words. You simply raise your right hand slowly. In the next instant, the idol of the 12 primordial totems rises, the black figure hovering behind you. The Voidwing and Ember King steels light up together, and 2 purple soul rings rise one after the other from beneath your feet. How could you possibly have soul rings? 2,000-year rings, no less. What the Skyreach sect fails to understand doesn't mean it doesn't exist. The first ring behind you flares to life. First soul skill. Voidwing's phase strike. Space shudders. And your figure vanishes instantly. Marcus's pupils shrink. He doesn't even get the chance to release his soul. In the next moment, you're already in front of him, spatial force layered with your soul power, and your fist slams into his chest. Marcus is sent flying backward, crashing hard into a charred tree trunk, which snaps in two with a crack. He falls to the ground, face ghost white, nearly coughing up blood. A spatial soul skill, so that spatial rift outside the sect gates was left by you. Your eyes flicker. So Aldrich has already begun to suspect. Go back and tell Aldrich, the debt between me and the Skyreach sect is settled. From now on, the sect need not look for me, and I will not return. Marcus's expression keeps shifting. If this were before, he'd have found those words laughable. But now, he can't laugh at all, because he understands exactly how much of an uproar this news will cause the moment it reaches the sect. Elena steps forward as well. Silas is a guest of the Rosemere family now. If the Skyreach sect only wishes to ask questions, the Rosemere family can pass the message along. But if anyone tries to force him into anything, ask the Rosemere family first whether we agree. Roland gives the group a cold glance, his soul saint pressure flashing briefly. Silas's words, I'll carry them back to the sect. But how the sect master decides isn't for me to determine. As he pleases. Marcus gives you one long look, then leads the three still shaken Skyreach disciples away quickly. Only once they vanish into the forest does Elena turn to you. You let them see your soul rings on purpose. It couldn't stay hidden much longer. Better to let them carry word back, than to keep hiding. At least this way the Skyreach sect won't act rashly for a while. True. If the sect knows you're now traveling with the Rosemere family, even if they want you back, they'll weigh the consequences first. But they'll definitely regret this, and may send someone far more senior after you. Then let them come. I owe them nothing. Silas, I'll say it once more. If you're willing, the Rosemere family will fully back your entry into the Stormcrown Royal Academy. Resources, introductions, identity, the family can arrange all of it for you. Of course, we don't ask you to join the family. We only hope that if the Rosemere family is ever in trouble, you'll remember this favor. Elena speaks with complete honesty. The Rosemere family is betting on your future, and you're accepting the family's resources. Both sides get what they need. A bond like that holds up better than a hollow debt of gratitude. Agreed. If the Rosemere family is ever in trouble, as long as it doesn't cross my principles, I'll step in once. Bright delight flashes through Elena's eyes. That's all I need to hear. So will you come to the academy with me from now on? Probably. Lila nods slightly and says nothing more, but the corner of her mouth curves up just a little. The group then leaves the Starfall Wilds, heading back towards Stormcrown City. Days later, inside the Skyreach sect's Elder Hall, Aldrich sits in the seat of honor. Elder Roderick is present too, along with several other elders gathered in the hall. Marcus kneels in the center of the hall, his face still somewhat pale. Did you find Silas? We found him. He's just a washout. Once found, bring him back for questioning. Why has this taken so long? Elder Roderick, we couldn't bring Silas back. What do you mean? Silas is no longer an ordinary person. He has soul power now, and he's already a 2-ring Grand Soul Master. Both of his rings are purple 1,000-year rings. The Elder Hall falls dead silent. The teacup in Roderick's hand cracks and shatters as he crushes it in his grip. Aldrich bolts upright, disbelief filling his eyes. Impossible. A Soul Master's first soul ring can only bear a ring up to about 400 years. Silas was measured back then at innate soul power, level 0. How could he become a 2-ring Grand Soul Master in just a few days? Marcus, did you see clearly? Could it have been some kind of illusion or some trick the Rosemere family pulled? Elders, I saw it very clearly. And it wasn't just me. The 3 disciples with me saw it too. What's more, Silas defeated me in a single move using a spatial soul skill. The elders finally fall silent, because although Marcus isn't the sect's top talent, he is still a 3-ring soul sovereign. If even he was defeated in a single move, then Silas's current strength can't possibly be a bluff. But the one least able to accept this is still Elder Roderick. Shards of the broken cup cut into his palm, blood dripping between his fingers, yet he seems not to notice at all. Marcus, are you certain the man you saw was Silas, and not some imposter? Elder Roderick, how could I possibly be wrong? Silas spent 7 years in the outer courtyard. Plenty of people in the sect know his face. And besides, he confirmed his own identity. Then what about his soul? What he awakened back then was nothing but a useless stone idol. Did you see it clearly? I did. It's still a black idol, but it's completely different from before. It's no longer lifeless. There seem to be 2 steels lit on it now. The first carries spatial distortion, and the second carries the scent of fire, and the pressure that soul gives off feels ancient. Just one glance was enough to chill me to the bone. The Elder Hall falls silent once more. This time even Roderick has no words to argue back with. Aldrich's expression turns unreadable. Silas was never a washout, he never was. We, the Skyreach sect, were wrong. And badly wrong. Where is Silas now? With the Rosemere family. Lady Elena Rosemere is there, along with the family's guardian, Roland. Lila is with them too. Several elders' faces shift. If the Skyreach sect tries to take him by force, this won't be simple anymore. What's the Rosemere family's stance? Elena said herself that Silas is a guest of the Rosemere family. If we only wish to ask questions, the family will pass the message along. But if anyone tries to force Silas into anything, they'll have to answer to the Rosemere family first. The Rosemere family, of all people, daring to meddle in Skyreach affairs? The Draven bloodline runs through Silas's veins, even cast out of the sect. He was once one of ours. We should bring him back. What right does the Rosemere family have to stop us? Aldrich gives him a cold look. Bring him back under what pretext? Who was it that pushed to cast him out yesterday? And who was it that said if he dies out there, he's no longer to claim Skyreach as his origin? Sect Master, times have changed. Back then, we didn't know his soul's true nature. Now that we do know how extraordinary his talent is, we cannot let him wander loose. If the Hall of Souls or the Stormcrown royal family recruits him instead, that would be a true loss for the Skyreach sect. Aldrich doesn't answer right away, because Roderick's words aren't entirely without merit. And yet Silas isn't an ordinary young man, not someone who can be coaxed back with a few kind words. What's more, Silas has already forged ties with the Rosemere family. If the Skyreach sect acts by force, it will only make things worse, possibly pushing Silas fully into opposition against the sect. This cannot be handled rashly. First, seal off the news. Silas's twin 1,000-year rings and his spatial soul skill. No one speaks of it outside this hall. Second, send someone to the Rosemere estate in Stormcrown City with a formal request. We won't seize him, just arrange to see him first. Without my direct order, No one is to act against Silas on their own, especially anyone under Elder Roderick. Secmaster, what do you mean by that? You should already know what I mean, Elder Roderick. Silas is no longer the boy who could be pushed around 7 years ago. If anyone still treats him like an outer courtyard laborer, then the Skyreach sect truly will have no chance left. Roderick remains unconvinced, at heart, but faced with Aldrich's warning, he doesn't push back further. Meanwhile, outside the Starfall Wilds, a carriage bearing the Rosemere family crest rolls along the road towards Stormcrown City. Inside, Elena sits on one side, sorting through several freshly written letters. Lila sits on the other side, quietly gazing out the window. As for you, you sit cross-legged at the innermost part of the carriage, soul power slowly circulating. After several days of adjustment, you've grown used to your level 28 power. The Voidwing and Embarking steels hover steadily on either side, deep within your soul. Beyond them, the third steel, Stormfangs, occasionally flickers with a faint thread of lightning. Silas, I've already written ahead to the family. Once we're back in Stormcrown City, the household will arrange an identity for you. And I've also sent letters of introduction to the Stormcrown Royal Academy's 3 overseers, Mordecai, Magnus, and Ren. The 3 of them come from different backgrounds, but all of them value real talent. Once they see your soul ring configuration with their own eyes, they'll take you seriously. You already know who they are. If you earn their approval, your time at the Stormcrown Royal Academy will go far more smoothly. Are there many noble factions inside the academy? The Stormcrown Royal Academy is by nature an imperial school. Most who enter are children of nobility or talents recommended by major powers. So its resources are excellent, but the people are complicated too. Given your personality, you probably won't care for how those noble kids carry themselves. As long as they don't bother me, I won't bother with them. And if they do bother you, then they'll remember it. Lila glances over at hearing that, knowing you're not just talking tough, you're simply stating fact. Among the Academy's younger generation, a few names stand out in strength. The most famous are Kai and Vera. Kai comes from the Azure Thunder Dragon sect, a top-tier offensive soul master among his peers. Vera is the granddaughter of the poison-titled Sovereign, Orion Nightshade. Her soul, the Jade Phosphor Serpent, has a poison attribute that's brutally hard to deal with. There's also Felix, Dorian, and the Stone Brothers, among others. These are people who will very likely form the Stormcrown Royal team. Lila herself is already regarded by the Academy as core support material for the team. The Academy really has been preparing for a new round of team selections. If you enroll, you'll likely cross paths with them. Your eyes flicker. These people are all figures from the original Stormcrown Royal team. If you want to stand firm at the Academy, sooner or later you'll have to deal with them, and sooner or later cross swords. Just then, a whistling sound cuts through the air outside the carriage. Elena, a letter's come from Stormcrown City. Her expression shifts. She lifts the curtain, and a snow-white messenger soul bird lands on Roland's arm, a small bamboo tube tied to its leg. Elena opens the letter. Just a few lines in, her expression turns oddly complex. The family has received my letter. They agree to accept you as an honored guest, and they're willing to vouch for you at the Stormcrown Royal Academy. The second piece of news is that this year's team selection at the Academy has been moved up. In half a month, the Academy will begin the new round of Stormcrown Royal Team preliminaries. And this time, selection won't just look at soul power level. Actual combat performance counts too. I hear Kai, Vera, Felix, Dorian, and the rest will all take part. The Overseer, on learning the Rosemere family wants to recommend a young man, wrote back saying an exception can be made for a meeting. But they want you to enter the team preliminaries directly. If your performance is good enough, you can skip the standard admissions process and go straight into a Sky Wisdom tier class, maybe even earn a spot on the Royal Team candidate list. The 3 Overseers are willing to give the Rosemere family this courtesy. But the Stormcrown Royal Academy doesn't let just anyone in through a shortcut, especially someone entering mid-cycle like you. If you want people to accept you, you'll have to prove it with real strength. Silas, honestly, this is rushed. You only just absorbed your second soul ring. Your power still needs time to settle. And you don't know the Academy's environment at all. If you jump straight into the preliminaries, you could easily become a target. Plenty of people at the Academy are unwelcoming toward outsiders, especially the nobles' children. They won't easily accept someone who suddenly transfers in. That's fine by me. If I went through the normal admission process instead, the trouble would only pile up more. Since I'll have to earn their respect eventually, I might as well beat it into them from the start. That temper of yours. Elena, no need to worry. With young Silas's strength among his peers, few could threaten him. If anything, those kids at the Stormcrown Royal Academy are the ones in for a rough time. Kai is strong, and Vera's poison is a real headache too. They're both soul sovereigns. Perfect. I'd like to know exactly where I stand against them anyway. By now, the outline of Stormcrown City appears at the end of the road. But just as the carriage nears the city gates, a commotion erupts up ahead. An extravagantly decorated carriage is coming down another road, flanked by several young soul masters in Stormcrown Royal Academy uniforms, riding on horseback as escorts. One young man among them sits tall and upright, his gaze sharp and cold. Though the distance is still considerable, you can already feel an overwhelming thunder-like presence radiating from him. Lila spots him too. That's Kai. You look up, and at the same moment the young man seems to sense something too, suddenly turning his gaze toward the Rosemere carriage. Two lines of sight meet mid-air. Neither of you speaks, but an invisible battle intent is already colliding quietly in the air between you. Elena glances at you, then at Kai in the distance. Looks like you haven't even entered the academy yet, and you've already met your first rival. The corner of your mouth curves up. That's what makes it interesting. Meanwhile, watching the Rosemere carriage from a distance, Kai frowns slightly. Just a moment ago he actually sensed from inside that carriage an intensely scorching flame presence, one that even made his Azure Thunder Tyrant Dragon's soul react with instinctive wariness. There's someone else in that carriage besides Lila. Kai, why the sudden interest in the Rosemere carriage? Did you notice Lila's gotten even prettier? Kai ignores the teasing. There has to be someone else in there. And that person's presence is powerful. Their soul quality is far from ordinary. Interesting. Looks like the Academy has a new arrival coming. Afterward, you follow Elena and Lila toward the Storm Crown Royal Academy. Roland doesn't come along, staying back to handle matters at the Rosemere estate following this hunting trip, and to watch for any formal requests the Skyreach sect might send. Soon, the three of you reach the Academy's main hall, the seat of the Storm Crown Royal Academy's Overseer Council. Once inside, you see three elders seated on a raised platform. The one in the middle is tall and lean, kind-faced but with startlingly deep eyes. He is Mordecai, Chief Overseer of the Academy. On the left sits a broad, powerfully built man, whose presence is heavy as a mountain. This is Magnus. On the right, a figure with a refined, elegant air carries a faint plant-based soul power ripple. This is Ren. None of them intentionally releases any pressure, yet the sheer presence of three titled sovereign-level figures fills the hall with quiet weight. Greetings, Overseers. Greetings, Overseers. Silas, greeting the three elders. Elena, it's been quite a while. I hear Lila has just successfully gained her third soul ring. Thanks to your guidance, elders. Lila has broken through to Soul Sovereign, barely 12, and already a 9-star Blossom Soul Sovereign. This girl is destined to be a core support pillar of our Storm Crown Royal team someday. Mordecai then turns his gaze to you. In truth, from the moment you stepped into the hall, all three overseers have been observing you, because Elena's letter made it clear that the young man the Rosemere family wished to recommend had extraordinary talent. The letter simply hadn't detailed your soul ring configuration, partly out of fear the letter could be intercepted, and partly because Elena knew some things only carry their full impact when witnessed firsthand. So you're Silas. I hear from Elena that you're 12 this year. Yes, 12. About the same age as Lila. But wanting to enter the Storm Crown Royal Academy through an exception takes more than just the right age, especially with the team preliminaries moved up. Plenty of students will be watching that new candidate slot closely. Without enough real strength, entering rashly would just make you a target. Rest assured, elders, if my strength falls short, I won't put Elena in a difficult position. Well-spoken, not too humble, not too proud, but what the Academy ultimately values is real strength. Silas, release your soul, let us see it. You slowly raise your right hand. The idol of the 12 primordial totems rises behind you, an ancient, weathered black figure. By now, 2 steels already glow upon it. Space warps faintly around the first. Atop the second, crimson flame slowly rises. All 3 titled sovereigns' expressions change at once. Magnus, previously sitting with casual ease, straightens up instantly. Astonishment flashes through Ren's eyes too. What kind of soul is this? The idol of the primordial totems. Before Mordecai can ask further, the first purple soul ring beneath your feet begins to rise. The hall goes suddenly still. 1,000-year first ring, how is that possible? But before they can recover from their shock, a second purple ring rises beneath your feet as well. In that instant, all 3 titled sovereigns lose their composure entirely. 2,000-year rings, and the second one's at least 3,000 years old easily. Silas, how did you manage this? My soul is unusual. After it awakened, my physical constitution far outpaced my peers, and combined with an unusually strong bond between me and the beast souls I absorbed, I got lucky. That's not something luck can explain. What abilities do your 2 rings each grant you? First soul skill, Voidwing's Phase Strike, a spatial assault skill. It allows short-range instant movement, layering spatial impact into a burst attack. Second soul skill, Ember King's Skyburn Fist, a fire-based burst skill. It can burn flesh directly and disrupt the flow of an opponent's soul power. Even a titled sovereign wouldn't have seen many soul masters who truly master a spatial skill. Mordecai, spatial strikes layered with fire bursts. This kid's combat system is already fully formed, and he's only level 28. If he breaks through to Soul Sovereign and gains a 3rd ring, his strength is bound to skyrocket. Good, very good. Elena, this time you've brought us a real surprise for the Stormcrown Royal Academy. As long as the 3 overseers are satisfied. Silas, are you willing to join the Stormcrown Royal Academy? I'm willing to enroll. But there's one thing I need to make clear beforehand. I won't join any faction. I've come to the Academy for cultivation resources and a platform to fight. If the academy is willing to nurture me, I'll naturally repay that in the future. But if anyone tries to use the academy's name to bind me, I won't accept it. Those words draw a brief silence in the hall. A trace of helplessness flashes through Elena's eyes. She knew you were blunt, but she hadn't expected you to speak this directly even in front of 3 titled sovereigns. Interesting, talented, and with a spine, too. But I like it. A young man without a bit of pride isn't much of a young man. As long as you don't harm the academy, it won't force you into any faction. That's right, the academy trains students to serve the empire and the Soulmaster world as a whole. If you choose to give back to the academy someday, it will welcome that. And if you walk your own path instead, the academy won't stand in your way. Thank you, elders. No need for such formality. When it's just family, you can call us grandfather, same as Lila does. A flicker of joy crosses Elena's eyes, because those words mean all 3 overseers have accepted you, and not just accepted, they see you as genuine core-tier talent. Lila, standing off to the side, quietly lets out a breath of relief. Still, Silas, getting into the academy isn't hard, but earning everyone's respect won't be so simple. You're entering through an exception after all, and the team preliminaries are right around the corner. Those kids at the academy, especially the ones in the Sky Wisdom classes, will absolutely question you. Are you afraid? No. And if they gang up on you? Then I'll fight them all at once. All 3 overseers pause for a moment. Bold kid, I like it. Sounds like those Sky Wisdom students are in for some excitement. A sly glint flashes in Mordecai's eyes. He's clearly already made up his mind. In that case, we won't put you in an ordinary class. You'll go straight into Sky Wisdom Class 1. Instructor Quinn will oversee you. As for the team preliminaries, you'll take part as well. If you show enough strength there, I can make an exception and put you on the Stormcrown Royal Team's candidate list. Agreed. Then it's settled. Ren, register Silas's enrollment. Magnus, go inform Quinn. Have him bring Silas into class tomorrow. Just then, a voice suddenly sounds from outside the hall. Overseers, Kai requests an audience. Lila stiffens slightly. Elena glances at you too. Let him in. Soon after, a figure steps through the hall's doorway. It's Kai, the same young man you saw outside the city gates. He wears the Stormcrown Royal Academy uniform, standing tall and upright, his gaze sharp and cold, the distinctive thunder presence of the Azure Thunder Tyrant Dragon radiating faintly off him. Greetings, overseers, Lady Rosemere, Lila. Overseer, I heard the academy would be receiving a new student admitted by exception, so I wanted to learn about it early. Good timing. Let me introduce you. This is Silas. Starting today, he's a new student in Sky Wisdom Class 1. He'll also join the team preliminaries in half a month. Level 33 Offensive Soulmaster, Soul Azure Thunder Tyrant Dragon. Silas. Level 28 Offensive Soulmaster Soul, Idol of the Primordial Totems. Level 28 and already admitted into Sky Wisdom Class 1 by exception. Seems you have something special about you. Maybe, in half a month's preliminaries, I'll be watching your performance. Mordecai watches the exchange, amusement deepening in his eyes. This is exactly the effect he wanted. The Academy's younger generation has excellent resources, but the problem is just as clear. Those noble-born prodigies have had it too easy. Easy enough that many have grown arrogant. Your arrival is exactly the wake-up call they need. Especially for Kai. He's the Azure Thunder Dragon Sex prodigy, currently the #1 talent among the Academy's younger generation. If you two clash, it could set the whole Academy alight. The next morning, at the Stormcrown Royal Academy, in Sky Wisdom Class 1, though class hasn't officially started, the room is already packed, because today a new student is joining the class, and word has it this new student was personally approved by all 3 overseers, admitted through an exception. The moment the news spreads, the entire class erupts. The Academy's tier system is famously strict: Sky Might, Sky Wisdom, and Sky Battle tiers. Sky Wisdom students need at least level 25 soul power, and Sky Wisdom Class 1 is the elite class of this entire year. Those who sit here either have outstanding soul power, exceptional backgrounds, or a real shot at competing for a Stormcrown Royal team spot. The Academy's core talent. Many wear open displeasure on their faces, because to them, the Academy's resources are limited enough already, especially with the preliminaries approaching. Suddenly inserting a stranger now could easily throw off the slot allocation. And on top of that, he's someone recommended by the Rosemere family. To many noble students, that's the same as pulling strings. Meanwhile, in the back row, Lila sits quietly by the window, saying little, as always. She just listens to the murmurs around her, her brow furrowing slightly. Though she knows your strength means these doubts don't matter at all, somehow, hearing people call you a connections hire before they've even met you still leaves an uncomfortable feeling in her chest. Vera, sitting not far in front of her, notices this. A hint of playfulness crosses her green eyes. Lila, do you know this new arrival? I do. So what's his background? Why would the 3 overseers let him into Class 1 by exception? He's strong. How strong? Stronger than Kai. You'll see for yourself. Vera raises an eyebrow slightly, her curiosity fully piqued now. Kai, sitting on the other side, catches this exchange too, the battle intent in his eyes sharper than yesterday's. Footsteps suddenly sound outside the door. The next moment, Instructor Quinn walks in, and the once noisy classroom falls quiet fast. Sounds like everyone's already heard. Today our class welcomes a new classmate, Silas. Come in. A figure steps slowly through the classroom doorway. Tall, fine-featured, expression calm. Silas, level 28 offensive soul master, soul idol of the primordial totems. The room falls still for a moment, then erupts into chatter louder than before. Only level 28 and already in class 1. It technically meets the Sky Wisdom minimum, but this is class 1, and the team preliminaries are about to start. What's the point of transferring in now? Level 28 offensive types aren't rare either. Thought he'd be something special. Yes, it's just connections, recommended by the Rosemere family. The overseers are just giving them face. Lila's frown deepens further. Vera crosses her arms, watching you with keen interest. Kai still says nothing, but his gaze stays fixed on you the entire time. Quinn doesn't cut off the chatter right away. He's letting the students vent their frustration first, so it hits harder when they're proven wrong later. After a moment, Quinn taps the podium lightly. Quiet down. Silas, go sit next to Lila for now. The classroom erupts all over again. Lila's naturally reserved, rarely exchanging more than a few words with the male students. Plenty of boys in class have a soft spot for her, especially one lean, cold-eyed young man. On hearing Quinn's seating arrangement, his expression darkens instantly. His name is Dorian, Soul, Phantom Panther, level 31, Agility Offense, Soul Sovereign. Even though Lila has never returned his interest, as far as he's concerned, few boys in the whole class are more fitting to be close to her than he is. You pay the surrounding stares no mind, simply walking over and sitting down beside Lila. Vera, seated not far off, grows even more amused. Nice to meet you, I'm Vera. Level 32 Control Type Soul Sovereign, Soul, Jade Phosphor Serpent. Silas. You're pretty calm, so many people just called you a connections hire. And you're not bothered? No need to be, they'll shut up soon enough. Interesting. You're bolder than I expected, but talk alone won't cut it. I'd love to see exactly how you plan to make them shut up. You'll get your chance. A spark of battle intent flashes through Vera's eyes. Just as she's about to say more, Kai rises from his seat and walks over toward the two of you, his gaze settling on you. Silas. In the Overseer Hall yesterday, I didn't get the chance to see your soul. I hope you won't disappoint me at the preliminaries. Same to you. Good. I'll be waiting. Alright, the new student's been introduced. Now let's get to business. I'm sure you've all already heard. The Storm Crown Royal Academy's new team preliminaries officially begin in half a month. This time, the Academy will select 14 candidate players from all Sky Wisdom students. 7 for Team 1, 7 for Team 2. Team captains and vice captains will also be decided by real combat performance. The whole classroom erupts. Joining the Storm Crown Royal team is nearly every Storm Crown Royal Academy student's dream. It represents strength, yes, but also resources, glory, and future qualification for the continent's elite Soul Master Academy tournament. The first round of preliminaries uses free-for-all mode. All participants enter the Soul Arena. Free team formation is allowed, but each team caps at 2. The final 28 left standing advance to round 2. Any alliance of 3 or more results in immediate disqualification. The classroom buzzes with murmurs at once. These rules test individual strength as much as team choice. The strong naturally seek out the strong, support-type Soul Masters need a reliable enough partner. Almost everyone's gaze drifts instinctively toward Lila. The 9-star Blossom, top-tier healing. Teaming with Lila in round 1 is practically an extra life. Hope flickers in Dorian's eyes too, but before he can speak, Lila turns to look at you. Silas, let's team up. The mood in the room shifts entirely. Plenty of people simply disliked you before, but now you've become a target overnight. Dorian finally can't hold back. He shoots up from his seat, glaring at you coldly. Silas, a level 28 Grand Soul Master, what gives you the right to team with Lila? Dorian, that's my own choice. Lila, I'm not targeting you. I'm just worried you'll be dragged down by certain people. Fine, some people get in on connections, but now he wants to ride a support master to advance too? Silas, if you have any self-awareness left, don't hide behind a girl. A ripple of muffled laughter runs through the room. Plenty of people are clearly waiting to see how you react. What do you want to prove? That you're not fit to team with Lila, Soul Arena. You and me, one match. If you win, I'll shut up. If you lose, you'll willingly step out of the team with Lila. Quinn stands at the podium, not stopping this because this is exactly the moment he's been waiting for. The best proof a prodigy can offer was never explanation, it's battle. No need for the Soul Arena. Dealing with you doesn't need to be that complicated. The room falls dead silent instantly. Every face in the room shifts. So arrogant. Way too arrogant. Silas, you asked for this. Soul power erupts violently from Dorian. A black phantom panther takes shape. Behind him, 2 yellow and 1 violet, 3 soul rings rising at once. He's actually going through with it. Dorian's a level 31 agility offense Soul Sovereign. Silas is in trouble now who told him to run his mouth like that. But just as Dorian prepares to charge, you finally release your soul. The idol of the 12 primordial totems rises slowly behind you. The whole room's mood drops instantly, and then the first purple ring rises from beneath your feet. The room's mocking laughter cuts off cold. Then a second deep purple ring rises slowly as well. Every eye in the room goes wide. Even the amusement on Vera's face freezes. Kai bolts upright, battle lust and shock exploding in his eyes at once. Dorian's jaw clenches. Regret is already creeping in, but he can't back down. If he retreats now, he'll never live it down in this class again. A scary-looking ring doesn't mean you're actually strong. So what if your first ring's 1,000 years old? You're still only level 28, and I'm a level 31 soul sovereign. Silas, take my strike if you dare. Many students finally snap out of their shock, some nodding instinctively. Because what Dorian's saying isn't entirely wrong. A ring configuration might be terrifying, but soul power level matters just as much. Not only is there a 3-level gap, there's also the divide between a Grand Soul Master and a Soul Sovereign's tier. Vera, though, doesn't see it that way. Watching the 2 purple rings behind you, her expression turns fully serious. Because she knows anyone who can absorb rings like that isn't just showing off pretty colors. Kai straightens up slowly too, his gaze locked hard onto the idol of the primordial totems behind you. Inside him, the Azure Thunder Tyrant Dragon soul stirs with instinctive wariness. Spatial power, or something similar. Behind Dorian, the first yellow ring flares to life. First soul skill, Phantom Panther's Shadow Ambush. Many students in the room catch only a flicker of black shadow. Dorian's already close to within 3 meters of you, and you stand right where you are, not even shifting your footing. Death Wish. His right hand transforms into a phantom claw, driving straight for your shoulder. Your first purple ring finally lights up. First soul skill, Voidwing's Phase Strike. Space shudders violently. The next moment your figure vanishes on the spot. Dorian's claw closes on empty air. Where, before he can even react, an icy sense of danger hits him from behind. You've already appeared behind him without a trace. On your right fist, silver-gray spatial light condenses. You put 30% power into it, and drive a punch straight into his back. A dull, heavy impact sound rings out. Dorian's whole body reacts as if slammed by a giant hammer. He's flung forward violently, crashing with a crack into an empty desk in the front row. The desk and chair shatter, books scatter everywhere. Dorian hits the floor, face going pale. Everyone who was murmuring a moment ago now sits with their mouths open. None of them saw how you vanished, and even less how you appeared behind Dorian. Vera bolts upright. A spatial soul skill. Kai's gaze sharpens too, so he was right earlier. No matter how fast you move, there's still a path to trace. But spatial teleportation has none. The moment you activate that skill, an opponent can't possibly rely on ordinary sight to track your position. Quinn stands beside the podium, shock flickering in his eyes too. This kind of soul skill is perfectly suited for real combat, especially against opponents of the same rank. It can force a first strike advantage almost every time. Dorian struggles to push himself up, pain flaring sharp across his back. Though you'd already held back, the spatial impact still leaves a jarring shockwave that churns his blood and breath. He looks up at you, fear finally surfacing in his eyes. What soul skill is that? You've already seen it, haven't you? Dorian grits his teeth, unwilling to accept it. That was his own carelessness. If he'd known beforehand you had a spatial skill, he'd never have charged in so recklessly. He forces himself back to his feet. Again. This time, instead of charging you directly, his second yellow ring lights up. Second soul skill, Phantom Panther's Mirage Burst. Dorian's form flickers, splitting on the spot into 3 black afterimages, each carrying a similar soul power ripple. Though it isn't a true split, against an ordinary soul master, it's already enough to confuse the eye. Unfortunately, Voidwing's sense doesn't rely on sight. The true body disturbs real space, the afterimages are just mimicked soul power. In your awareness, out of the 3 afterimages, only the leftmost carries any real spatial weight. In other words, Dorian's true position was exposed from the start. Left? Dorian's pupils shrink, because you've just named his exact real position. But he's already committed. All 3 afterimages lunge at you at once. Too slow. Your first ring flares again the next instant, your figure vanishing on the spot. This time, though, you don't reappear behind Dorian. You appear directly at the center of the 3 afterimages instead, then slam your right fist into the ground. The spatial shockwave ripples outward. All 3 afterimages scatter in an instant, and Dorian's true body stumbles too. Before he can steady himself, you vanish again. The next instant, you're right in front of him, your right hand resting lightly on his shoulder. Done. Soul power pulses from your palm, sending Dorian flying backward again, this time slamming straight into the classroom wall. No serious injury, but he's completely lost the ability to keep fighting. The classroom falls into terrifying silence. One strike could be chalked up to carelessness, but this was a second exchange. Dorian had already used his second soul skill, and you still crushed him with ease. That proves this isn't luck. It's that your strength genuinely surpasses his. That leaves everyone who called you a connections hire, red-faced with embarrassment. Dorian lies on the floor, deathly pale, eyes full of humiliation and defiance. The facts speak for themselves, though. He lost cleanly. Lost completely. Can you shut up now? Dorian's body stiffens, his expression darkening further. Vera glances at Lila, surprise flickering in her eyes, because she's rarely seen Lila defend someone this openly before. She looks over at you next, the interest in her eyes fully turning to battle lust. Silas, that soul skill of yours is a real headache. You withdraw your soul, the 2 purple rings vanishing, the room's pressure fading with them. It works. You're really annoying to talk to. Kai walks up in front of you, his expression more serious than before. My Azure Thunder Tyrant Dragon Soul stirred with battle lust the moment it sensed you. I thought it was fire attribute at first, but it's clearly more than fire. Your soul is more unusual than I expected. Your Azure Thunder Tyrant Dragon isn't weak either. In the preliminaries half a month from now, I hope we get a real match. You'll get your chance. Alright, that's enough for now. Dorian, medical wing. Dorian rises, grinding his teeth, and leaves the classroom without a word. Quinn pays his mood no mind, turning back to the whole class instead. Does anyone still think Silas doesn't belong in Sky Wisdom Class 1? The room falls completely silent. No one speaks because saying anything now would only invite ridicule. Since no one objects, let's move on. Team preliminaries. Silas, you've only just enrolled and you don't know the academy well yet. But the preliminaries in half a month won't lower the bar just because you're new, so you'll need to adapt fast during this stretch. Round 1 is a 2-person free-for-all. Teaming with Lila is genuinely a solid choice, but because of it, you'll also become a target for plenty of people, since support-type masters carry huge value in a free-for-all, and the strength you just showed is enough to worry others too. In other words, you two will likely get ganged up on in round 1. Lila's brow furrows slightly, clearly having considered this already. If they want to come, let them come. Saves me the trouble of tracking each of them down myself. A number of students' faces shifts slightly. If you'd said that before this class period, they'd have called it arrogance. But now, they're starting to think you might actually pull it off. Confidence is good, but a free-for-all isn't a duel. Opponents come from every direction. And some Soul Master skills are built for ambush and control, so don't get careless. I'll be careful. Good. This morning's lesson is now a walkthrough of the preliminary rules. This afternoon, everyone heads to the training grounds for live drills. Silas, you'll join too. I need to see your overall combat capability. Plenty of eyes in the room turn wary again. Sure, Dorian's already been beaten, but Sky Wisdom Class 1 has more than one Soul Sovereign, and this afternoon's drills won't necessarily be one-on-one, meaning they'll still get a chance to size up your strength further. Meanwhile, at the Stormcrown Royal Academy Overseer Council, Mordecai, Magnus, and Ren stand before a soul mirror, its surface displaying the exact scene that just played out in the classroom. The kid actually held back, didn't even use his fire skill. Otherwise Dorian would probably be bedridden for half a month. Ren strokes his beard, his gaze grave. His spatial skill has enormous combat value, and he doesn't just teleport. He can read an enemy's true position through spatial ripples, which means his perception is sharp too. That's exactly the effect I wanted. Those Sky Wisdom kids needed someone to knock a bit of pride out of them. Silas came at the perfect time. Mordecai, you're not seriously thinking of letting him compete for captain? If he genuinely has the strength for it, why not? A flicker crosses Ren's eyes. But Kai's a fine prospect. What he needs is a real opponent. If he can't even clear the hurdle Silas represents, that just proves he isn't ready to hold the captain's seat. That afternoon, at the Stormcrown Royal Academy training grounds, Lila stands beside you. Instructor Quinn's afternoon drills are never easy. Sometimes it's one-on-one, sometimes two-on-two, sometimes he sets up surprise, ambush, or escort scenarios. With the preliminaries approaching, today will probably lean toward free-for-all conditioning. Fine by me. It'll help me learn different Soul Master types. Agility, control, defense, support. Each type needs a different approach. The more I see now, the fewer surprises at the preliminaries. Just then Quinn arrives at the training grounds. He glances at the crowd gathered along the sidelines, clearly having expected this many spectators. He finally walks to the center of the field, claps his hands. Everyone form up. Sky Wisdom Class 1 falls into line at once, though plenty of eyes still can't help drifting toward you. I'm sure you've all heard out this morning by now. Silas's strength doesn't need further introduction from me. But that brief exchange in the classroom wasn't full combat. This afternoon's purpose is to get everyone used to the rhythm of a free-for-all. Round 1 of the preliminaries is a 2-person team battle. So today we start with paired sparring, 2 per team. One side attacks, one side defends. The defending side must protect a support-type teammate for a set amount of time. The attacking side must break through and touch the support teammate's shoulder to win. First pair, Silas and Lila, you're the defenders. The whole field perks up at once, clearly recognizing this as an early simulation of your preliminary team pairing. Quinn then looks toward Vera and Kai. Vera's eyes light up instantly, and she's already taken a step forward, but Quinn doesn't call Kai's name. Vera, Felix, you two are the attackers. A lean young man steps forward. Felix, Soul, the Wind Spirit Hawk, level 29 agility type Grand Soul Master. His power hasn't broken through to Soul Sovereign yet, but his speed and aerial mobility are strong. And paired with Vera, a control-type Soul Sovereign, it's a solid combo for breaking through a defense. Hearing he isn't in this round, Kai, feels a flash of disappointment, but he raises no objection, because he can tell Quinn wants to use Vera's poison and Felix's speed first to test how you handle a control type, paired with an agility offense combo. The rules are simple. Silas must protect Lila. Lila can't leave the designated zone. If either Vera or Felix touches Lila's shoulder, the attackers win. Time limit, 1 incense sticks burn. And this is a sparring match. No lethal force. The 4 of you step onto the field. Lila takes position 5 steps behind you, confined by the rules to a circle 3 meters across while you stand in front of the circle. Vera and Felix stand across from you. Begin. Almost the instant Quinn's word lands, Vera releases her soul. A jade-green serpent silhouette rises behind her, 2 yellow and 1 purple, 3 rings rising fast. At the same time, a pair of azure wings unfurls behind Felix, 2 yellow and 1 purple, 3 rings surfacing. You're in no hurry to unleash a skill. You simply summon the idol of the 12 primordial totems, 2 purple rings rising slowly. A suppressed gasp ripples through the sidelines. Felix's expression turns visibly serious too. Vera lets out a light scoff. Scary rings don't mean much. Get through my poison mist first. Her first yellow ring lights up. First soul skill, Jade Phosphor Serpent's Crimson Venom. A thin layer of pale red mist wraps around her body instantly. It's not an offensive poison, it's an amplifying one. Once the Crimson Venom takes hold, her speed, strength, and soul power flow all get boosted. Her second yellow ring flares next. Second soul skill, Jade Phosphor Serpent's Venom Breath. A vast cloud of green venomous mist surges from in front of her, spreading with alarming speed, closing in on you and Lila's zone within seconds. At the same time, Felix rides a gust into the air, his form, trailing an azure afterimage, circling wide around the mist to strike from the flank at Lila. Their tactic is simple. Vera locks down your position with poison mist, while Felix breaks through from above. If you go block the mist, Felix uses the airborne advantage to close in on Lila. It's a solid combo. At least against an ordinary defender, it's genuinely hard to counter. But you stand exactly where you are, not moving an inch. You're going to eat my poison head-on, are you crazy? Kai, standing on the sidelines, frowns slightly. He doesn't think you'd make a mistake this basic, so you must have something else planned. Sure enough, just as the mist is about to engulf you, your second purple ring behind you flares to life, the emberking steeless flame flaring bright. Scorching heat bursts from within you instantly. You slowly raise your right fist, crimson fire coiling around your knuckles, the air temperature spiking sharply. Second soul skill, emberking skyburn fist. You don't aim for Vera. You punch straight into the mist ahead of you instead, crimson fire taking the shape of a tiger, slamming directly into the Jade Phosphor Serpent's venom. The next instant, a stunning sight unfolds. The steadily spreading green mist suddenly evaporates before the flaming fist, warping and burning away. A whole swath of mist is scorched into a clear, empty path. My poison, it's burning away? Vera's pupils contract sharply. She's seen fire-type soul masters before, but ordinary flame has no business dispersing Jade Phosphor venom this easily. Your flame's quality is clearly off the charts. Kai's expression turns grave instantly too. Standing on the sidelines, shock flickers through his eyes as well. It means Vera's greatest strength, control, gets drastically weakened against you. But Felix doesn't stop. While your fist burns through the mist, he's already closing in above Lila from the flank. Got her. As he sees it, you just used your second soul skill, and can't possibly recover in time. But just as Felix prepares to drop, Lila shows no panic at all because she knows the thing you're best at was never fire, but space. Sure enough, your first ring flares suddenly. Voidwing's phase strike. Space shudders. Your figure vanishes on the spot. Felix, only halfway through his dive, catches a blur before his eyes. And the next instant, you're already right in front of him midair. Though you can't fly for long stretches, spatial travel lets you appear instantly at any point in the air. What? Before Felix can react, you've already thrown a punch. You skip the emberking flame this time, using only spatial force to strike his chest. Felix drops straight out of the air, though you've kept the force in check. He tumbles across the ground a few times before getting back up quickly, shaken but not seriously hurt. Still, the outcome of the drill is already clear. Felix's ambush has failed, Vera's mist has been broken, and Lila has stood inside the circle the entire time, not moving a single step. Vera's expression turned sour. In a real fight, the instant her mist burned away, her control rhythm would have already been shattered. But she doesn't concede yet. If anything, the battle lust in her eyes sharpens further. Silas, that fire of yours really is something, but I haven't used my third skill yet. Quinn's brow furrows. Vera, no wide-scale lethal toxins in a training spar. Don't worry, instructor. I'll keep the toxicity low, just a small dose. Quinn doesn't agree right away. Because Vera's third soul skill, the Jade Phosphor Serpent's Sovereign Venom, is genuinely dangerous. Even scaled down, it could still seriously affect an ordinary Grand Soul Master. Fine. Lila looks like she wants to say something, but seeing the calm in your eyes, she gives a small nod instead. The 9-star blossom surfaces quietly behind her, ready to heal you the instant any sign of poisoning appears. Vera, 30% toxicity only. Silas, if anything feels off, pull out immediately. Vera's third purple ring finally lights up. Third soul skill, Jade Phosphor Serpent's Sovereign Venom. A thread of green-tinged violet mist spreads from her palm instantly. A faint corrosive hiss even sounds in the air. Students along the sidelines back away at once because just looking at it is enough to make their scalps crawl. You want to gauge how strong the toxin actually is, so you let a thread of it drift near your right hand. The next instant, a faint sting prickles across your skin, the venom trying to work its way into your flesh. But before it can spread further, the emberking steel suddenly shudders. Scorching godfire surges up from within you, and the thread of poison that had just breached your skin is instantly burned to nothing. Your eyes flicker. So Emberking's godfire can burn external poison, and to some degree, purge poison that's already breached the body too. You raise your right fist, crimson fire rising once more. This time, instead of a direct strike, you form a ring of flame in front of yourself instead. The instant the poison mist touches the wall of fire, it lets out a sharp hiss, dissolving fast after that. Vera's expression changes completely. For the first time, she truly grasps just how hard your second soul skill counters her. But just as everyone assumes you'll keep defending, you suddenly move. Your first ring flares. Space shudders. Your whole body slips through the gap between the flame wall and the poison mist in an instant, appearing directly 3 steps in front of Vera. Her pupils contract sharply. She never expected you'd launch a counterstrike while still defending against her mist. And you're too fast, far too fast for her to redeploy the poison in time. The flame on your right fist pulls back. You don't actually throw the skyburn punch, just hold it there. Half a foot from her face, scorching heat rolling off it. A strand of Vera's violet hair lifts gently in the heat wave. If this were real, you'd already have lost. Vera stares at the fist inches from her face, falls silent for a moment, then lets out a slow breath. I lose. Felix picks himself up off the ground, a wry grin on his face. That spatial skill is straight up unfair. Being in the air didn't help me at all. Meanwhile, the battle lust in Kai's eyes has fully ignited. He steps onto the field. Silas, fight me. In an instant, the entire training ground goes dead silent. Everyone holds their breath. Kai, the Azure Thunder Tyrant Dragon, against Silas, the Twin Ring Prodigy. This is the fight everyone's been dying to see. But Quinn steps in at this exact moment. Not today. Silas just joined the class today. He fought Dorian this morning, then went straight into back-to-back matches against Vera and Felix this afternoon. Fighting him now isn't fair. Silas, your performance today was excellent, not just in strength, but in judgment too. Against Vera and Felix's combo. You didn't chase blindly, you broke the poison mist first, then intercepted the ambush. Against the third soul skill, you didn't brute force it either. You combined fire and space to cut in cleanly. That tells me you understand your own strengths well. He pauses, then turns to the whole class. You all saw it. Soul power level isn't the only measure of victory. Ring configuration, skill combinations, combat judgment, real-time reaction. These are all part of strength. If you walk into the preliminaries underestimating your opponents, Dorian, Felix, and Vera today are your warning. Meanwhile, on the distant platform overlooking the training ground, Mordecai, Magnus, and Ren watch the entire session again through the soul relay device. The kid doesn't just fight, he fights smart. His fire and space combo flows perfectly, especially how he handled Vera's poison mist. First test the toxin, then seal it off with fire, then cut in with a spatial strike. That judgment doesn't read like a 12-year-old's, which is exactly why I say, this year's Storm Crown Royal team might need a whole new approach. If he beats Kai at the preliminaries, who's going to say the captaincy shouldn't be his? Kai won't lose easily. Perfect. Only a real clash can reveal their true limits. Half a month passes in the blink of an eye. On the day of the team preliminaries, the Storm Crown Royal Academy's Central Soul Arena draws nearly every student with a free moment. On top of that, all 3 overseers take their seats on the platform above, while Quinn and several instructors handle order inside the arena. By now, a large crowd of competitors has already gathered at the center of the Soul Arena. Any Sky Wisdom tier student meeting the soul power requirement is eligible to enter. 86 competitors in total, with only a dozen or so soul sovereigns among them. Most are Grand Soul Masters between levels 25 and 29. You stand off to one side of the crowd, Lila standing quietly beside you. Today she's dressed in the Academy's combat uniform, built for mobility, her pale blue hair tied back. The 9-star blossom hasn't been released yet, but the gentle life presence radiating off her already draws plenty of sidelong glances. Not far off, Vera and Kai stand together, the two of them pairing up naturally, exactly the strongest combination everyone expected. The Azure Thunder Tyrant Dragon leading the charge head-on, the Jade Phosphor Serpent controlling the whole field. Purely in terms of intimidation, almost no team wants to provoke them first. On the other side, the Stone Brothers stand together, both defense-type Soul Masters, Soul, the Iron Shell Tortoise. Their offense isn't remarkable, but their defense is formidable and their teamwork seamless, a brutal combo to crack in a free-for-all. Felix is paired with another offense-type student. Dorian's competing too, his partner a support-type noble student. There'll probably be plenty of people ganging up on us today. In truth, ever since entering the arena, you've already felt a lot of eyes fixed on you, some curious, some wary, some outright hostile. especially the students who already know they're unlikely to make the final team roster. They're the most prone to banding together, because round 1 is a free-for-all. Only the final 28 left standing advance to round 2. In other words, eliminating strong rivals first means the weaker players actually stand a better chance of surviving. And your pairing with Lila stands out too much. A twin-ring dark horse fresh out of nowhere, paired with the 9-star Blossom's core healer. If they don't take you two out early, things will only get harder later. So plenty of people have already quietly agreed to gang up on you first, or at least force you to burn through soul power early. If it gets too crowded, you don't have to guard me every second. I can take a few hits. I'm support type, not made of glass. You blink slightly, then smile faintly. Alright, but nobody touches you before I go down. Meanwhile, up on the platform, Mordecai surveys the team distribution below, anticipation in his eyes. Mordecai, think anyone's going to gang up on Silas the moment this starts? Absolutely. His pairing with Lila is too great a threat. If any of these students have half a brain, they'll try to shut them down first. That'll be interesting. I'd love to see how his spatial skill holds up against a group attack. That's exactly what I want to see. Being strong in a duel doesn't mean he's strong in a melee. If Silas really wants the captaincy, he has to prove he can do more than beat one opponent. He has to command a chaotic battlefield. Lila's presence will make him the center of attention and test his ability to protect her at the same time. Exactly, which is why this match matters so much. At the center of the Soul Arena, Quinn steps up onto the judges' platform. Stormcrown Royal Academy Team Preliminaries Round 1 Rules. First, all competitors enter free-for-all. Second, each team caps at 2. Third, no alliance of 3 or more is permitted. Fourth, losing combat ability, willingly conceding, or leaving the Soul Arena's boundary, counts as elimination. Fifth, the final 28 left standing advance to round 2. One last reminder, this is an internal academy preliminary, hold back at the finishing blow. No deliberate lethal force. Anyone breaking the rules will be disqualified. Several instructors then activate the protective soul relay devices around the arena, a faint curtain of light rising up, enveloping the whole Soul Arena, completely. Quinn then raises his right hand, and the whole arena's mood tightens instantly. Countless students hold their breath. Lila summons the 9-star Blossom 2, 2 yellow and 1 purple, 3 rings rising slowly behind her, a gentle life. Presence spreading outward, steadying the blood and breath inside you. You raise your hand and summon the idol of the 12 primordial totems. The black figure hovering behind you, the Voidwing and Emberking Steels lighting up together, 2 purple rings encircling you. In an instant, plenty of students who'd still been hesitating turn visibly serious. They'd already heard about your twin rings, but seeing it with their own eyes still sends a shiver down their spines. Quinn's hand finally drops. Begin! The entire Soul Arena erupts instantly with countless bursts of soul power, every kind of soul unleashed at once. Beast roars, the clash of metal, the glow of soul rings lighting up, all of it tangles together. The free-for-all officially begins. But while most teams are still scanning for targets, over a dozen figures are already converging on you and Lila's position. Sure enough, you've become everyone's target right from the opening bell. Lila's expression tightens slightly, but she doesn't back away, simply releasing her first soul skill at once. 9-star Blossom petals drift down, gentle healing power wrapping around your entire body. Though you're not injured yet, this healing aura can keep you in peak condition. Leading the charge are 3 agility offense students, clearly determined to use their speed to slip past you and force Lila out directly, while in front, 2 defense-type students advance behind shield-bearing souls. Their plan is clear: pin you down head-on, strike from the flank. If you focus only on the front, Lila gets eliminated. If you fall back to defend her, the frontal pressure closes in instead. It's not a subtle tactic, but with numbers on their side, it's effective enough. Lila, stay steady. The next instant, your second purple ring flares to life behind you, the Emberking Steely's flame surging bright, scorching heat spreading instantly. Second soul skill, Emberking's Skyburn Fist. You slam a punch straight into the ground in front of you. Crimson fire erupting outward in a fan shape, centered on the shockwave of your punch. A scorching wave sweeps forward. The 2 defense-type students in front turn pale instantly, raising their shields at once, but Emberking's flame isn't just explosive, it burns through soul power too. The moment their shield souls make contact with the wave, soul power ripples wildly across their surface, forcing both students back several steps. Meanwhile, the 3 agility offense students have already circled in close from the flank. One of them closes to within 5 meters of Lila, delight flashing in his eyes, but just as he reaches out to touch Lila's shoulder, your first purple ring flares behind you. Space shudders. Your figure vanishes instantly. The next moment, you're right in front of that agility offense student, his pupils contracting sharply. Not even time to pull his hand back. You slam a palm into his chest. Soul power pulses. He's sent flying, tumbling straight out past the arena's boundary. You don't stop. Space ripples again. The second agility offense student is about to retreat, but finds you've already appeared behind him. A handblade strike lands. His vision blacks out and he loses his balance completely. Not knocked out, but knocked clean out of combat range. Seeing this, the third agility offense student turns pale and tries to flee, but the space beneath your feet shudders again. The next instant, you're already blocking his escape. You came this far. No need to rush off. One punch sends the third one flying. From the frontal fire wave to clearing all three agility offense students out of the arena, the whole exchange takes only seconds. Everyone nearby, initially ready to keep piling on, slows their advance at once because they've finally realized ganging up on you and Lila isn't nearly as simple as they thought. You can suppress the front line with Ember King's Flame and just as easily use Voidwing's teleport to intercept the flanks. Worse still, Lila keeps restoring your soul power the entire time. In other words, trying to wear you down through sheer numbers is next to impossible. Meanwhile, on the other side of the soul arena, Kai and Vera have already entered combat too, though almost no one dares approach them. Vera's poison mist has already spread wide, and ordinary students won't go anywhere near it. Kai, meanwhile, is even more direct. With the Azure Thunder Tyrant Dragon merged onto him, one Thunderclaw strike sends a student who tried to ambush him flying clean out of the arena. Overwhelming and domineering, ruthlessly efficient. Vera, catching sight of the commotion on your side, can't help but laugh. Kai, look, Silas got surrounded right at the opening bell. Kai's fist drives back an opponent, his gaze flicking toward your direction. If he can't even handle those, he's not worth my anticipation. Fair enough? Vera then turns to a pair of students edging closer, her third ring glowing faintly. Both their faces change instantly, and they turn to leave at once. Compared to Kai and Vera's side, where nobody dares stir trouble, your side's siege isn't over yet. Soon someone realizes their strikes need to be concentrated, not scattered. The remaining teams shift tactics. Vines erupt from the ground without warning, thick coils snaking toward your legs like striking serpents. But you'd already sensed the spatial ripple beneath the ground. A light tap of your toe, and your body shifts 3 meters sideways in an instant, the vines grasping only air. But ranged attacks have already arrived. To your left, a fireball. To your right, a soul power condensed ice blade. Neither is aimed at you, both are aimed at Lila. Plenty of people hold their breath instinctively at this, but you just glance up once, your first ring flaring, appearing instantly in front of the fireball on the left, shattering it with a single punch. Space ripples again immediately, and without pausing you appear directly in the ice blade's path on the right, sweeping your right hand out. Soul power ripples, and the ice blade shatters into countless shards. The whole chain of movement happens too fast for anyone to react, but the control-type Soul Master responsible seizes the brief moment you've left your original spot, driving the vines toward Lila again. But Lila doesn't panic at all, because she knows you won't miss this. Sure enough, the next instant you're back in front of her. Your second ring flares to life, Ember King's Flame condensing in your palm, crimson fire spreading along the ground outward. The vines are ignited the instant they draw near, catching fire fast. The control-type Soul Master's face changes sharply. He scrambles to cut the soul power connection, looking up, only to find that Voidwing's phase strike has already triggered. The control-type Master catches only a blur before his eyes, and you're already right in front of him, one palm strike sending him flying out of the arena. Plenty of students start to grasp a harsh truth. Continuing to gang up on you two probably costs more than it's worth. Better than hitting a wall here, they'd be better off eliminating weaker teams instead. Round 1 doesn't require beating everyone. Just surviving into the final 28 is enough. So plenty of teams who'd hoped for an easy win start pulling back instead. Meanwhile, in other parts of the arena, the fighting turns fiercer too. The Silent Stone Brothers move like two walking fortresses, brute-forcing several offense-type Soul Masters clean out of the arena. Felix uses his flight advantage to hunt down isolated opponents one after another. Dorian, relying on his phantom burst speed, quickly eliminates a lower-tier Grand Soul Master. Kai's side is even more unstoppable. Anyone who gets close to him and Vera either gets driven back by the poison mist or blasted away by a thunderclaw. Before long, fewer than 40 competitors remain standing in the arena. But the further this goes, the stronger the survivors get, and once again, you and Lila's position becomes the focus of everyone's attention. This time, though, no one dares charge in recklessly. Just as the standoff holds for a moment, an angry shout suddenly rings out from the other side of the arena. Silas! You turn to look and see Dorian standing not far off, staring at you with a complicated look. His support-type partner has already been eliminated. By the rules, he can still keep fighting solo, as long as he survives into the final 28, but he clearly has no interest in playing it safe until then. Before was my mistake, I want to try again. Several students nearby, their eyes flickering with interest, realize that if Dorian pins you down, they might get a chance to break through to Lila. Several teams who'd been holding back start closing in slowly. They're all coming at once? Then I'll deal with all of them at once. Dorian's expression darkens. Silas, still this arrogant. Not arrogant, you're all just slow. Dorian's fury ignites fully. His third purple ring flares to life behind him. Third soul skill, Phantom Panther's Vanishing Mist. In an instant, a thick cloud of black fog spreads out from beneath his feet. At the same time, several students move in unison. Two strong offense-type masters charge in head-on from the left. A control-type Soul Master on the right releases a chain-bound soul, and a ranged Soul Master behind them prepares to ambush Lila. The situation turns complicated in an instant. On the platform, Magnus's eyes light up. Here it comes. Now this looks interesting. Dorian's third soul skill can obscure both sight and part of one's perception. If Silas relies purely on his eyes, he'll be easily thrown off. Let's see just how far his spatial sense can actually go. Dorian's figure disappears from sight entirely. But within your senses, his presence remains perfectly clear, because fog can block the eyes, but it can't block genuine spatial ripples. Every movement he makes leaves a trace behind in space. You're in no hurry to strike. Instead, you close your eyes, focusing your senses more intently. The next instant, you move. Your first ring flares to life. Voidwing's phase strike, space shudders. You vanish on the spot, and when you reappear, you're already standing, somewhere deep within the black fog. You raise a hand and throw a punch. A figure gets blasted clean out of the fog by the impact. It's Dorian. How'd you find me? The next instant, your figure vanishes again. The control-type master's chain having just closed in on Lila gets pinned under your foot before it can reach her. Ember King's flames spreading out from beneath. Soul power ripples violently across the surface of the chain soul. The control-type master's face goes pale, and he scrambles to withdraw his soul, but it's already too late. You teleport straight in front of him, one palm strike sending him flying out of the arena. You spin at once, shattering with a punch, a soul power arrow fired by the ranged master, then teleport through space, appearing behind him and blasting him away too. The two offense-type masters, seeing your continuous strikes, try to seize the moment and break through to Lila, but just as they close to within 3 meters of her, a burst of crimson fire suddenly erupts beneath their feet. You've already returned to Lila's side without them noticing. Ember King's Skyburn Fist. The fire wave sweeps across, forcing both offense-type masters into a steady retreat. One soul power barrier fails, and the fire wave sends him flying clean out of the arena. The other pales instantly and raises his hand to concede at once. In an instant, the entire small-scale siege has been completely broken. Dorian, just picking himself up, finds you're already back standing in front of Lila. His painstakingly deployed third soul skill has only earned him another trip through the air. This time, he finally understands the gap between you and him. It was never about carelessness. It's simply a difference in raw level. He retreats on his own, choosing not to close in again. By now, the arena's numbers have dropped fast to 30, with only 2 more eliminations needed to reach the final 28. Everyone turns even warier. No one wants to be the unlucky one eliminated at the very end. Just then, Kai suddenly starts walking toward where you're standing. The numbers are close enough now. If I don't try this, I won't get another chance. Then I'll clear the field for you. The Jade Phosphor Serpent surfaces behind Vera, poison mist spreading fast in every direction. Nearby students, seeing this, pale instantly and back off at once, leaving a wide, empty stretch of space between you and Kai, forced open entirely. Blue-violet dragon scales spread across Kai's right arm, thunder crackling at his fingertips. He looks at you, his gaze more serious than ever before. Silas, this is only round 1, but I still want to confirm it for myself. Whether you're truly qualified to compete with me for captain. Then let's find out. The next instant, Kai's first yellow ring flares to life behind him. First soul skill, Azure Thunder Tyrant Dragon's Thunder Claw. At the same moment, your first ring lights up too. Voidwing's phase strike. Thunder and space erupt at once. The entire arena holds its breath. The true monster showdown begins.